how many humans actually exist? You would have to ask this question after 2020, right? You got to see all that stuff happen in the open. And then I got to see my own personal show that was, like cementing down everything that was being shown on TV and elsewhere. I literally just asked to see what was going on, and 2020 happened, period. So, shit, that was part of what I asked for. I was like, yeah, what can we do about all this stuff? Like being kidnapped and forced drugged by the humans, trying to paralyze me for like, what? I mean, bro, they've got like 6 personality traits. If that's one of them, then that, like, takes 1 second to say a sentence from each personality trait. On average, it could be once every 6 minutes or something. They do that. I've never really been able to analyze. I didn't used to like count or write it down like I do now. Mark it off every time they're up to something like that. So when that happened, I was like part of what I was asking, besides saying like, why don't they just do it to themselves instead of me? I had also said I would want to see everything that's going on, and then actually I didn't say that just yet. Before the 2020 stuff started, I said, what can we do about this? And so then that stuff happened, and like then they all started doing it to themselves, and instead of doing that to me, the humans were like following me around, cutting my brake lines and slashing my tires and destroying my transmission, just to name a few 5-minute encounters during that year of 10 million different 5 minutes. So obviously that looked kind of like fake, like like, oh damn, like so like everything on this planet, their minds can just be hijacked and taken over as if they don't have minds, because I would think that would be like a requirement to be able to like have your mind hijacked, is to not have one. And then so we had that stuff in the open, and then I'm like, yeah, so what is going on? And then there's that video. If I posted it, that was probably the only video I posted that year, considering I was being gang stalked, and they were playing games, little didn't do nothing humans following me around, playing games with my tech. And not only that, but they were breaking my expensive tech a lot that year. The humans fucking broke like shit. I don't even remember it all. A lot of my fucking stuff of value, kind of like they did my whole fucking life. Taking anything I want and giving me their little low IQ, fucking no culture having, no color matching, fucking nasty ass fucking cave 8 primordial slime type shit, fucking in place of a fucking fat burger, fucking Jabba the Hutt replacement. Instead of being a living being, I should be Jabba the Hutt and be thankful I get to be a fucking fat slime ball. Okay, yeah, that's it. I mean, in the mind of a fucking child rapist, child mutilator, enslaver, drugger, I mean, you gotta add child, because it's an extra level of sick. The standard people obviously were on board with drugging anyone, drugging adults, and but it just shows that they're going to do it to anyone when they're having sex with dogs and children, that they're going to have sex with everything they can touch. Things like that, you know. Like fucking adults. Who the hell has sex with adults? What are you, like 8 years old or something? That's for kids. Anyone can have sex with an adult. But anyways, yeah, so then I'm like, what's going on? And then, like, the human race, like, I'm at this populated place, and then the human race is, like, drops out of consciousness, except for they're still standing, but they're lining up in synchronicity. Like, and there's not, like, a line there. These are all, like, random strangers traveling over it from the entire world. Most of them are foreigners and shit. And it makes them all do the same exact thing and line up in groups. And the groups were like so like uniquely built. It's weird that like I would go somewhere and everyone would be in a group of 6. That looked just as weird as the fact that they all like huddled in their own groups and started doing the same thing at the same time. When I'm running around asking them what they're doing. And so it was about that now. I think I was already playing with the sun at that point in time. It was sometime around that. I was like, oh, so interesting. And I was answering some questions, how like people around me like new things they don't know, and we're teaming up with I actually didn't answer the question. They had been teamed up with Team Pedophile, Low IQ, Jabba the Hutt, rapists, child molesting motherfuckers since my birth, child abusing. I mean, just like, bro, it's not rape. Like, rape's free sex. Like someone has sex with you and then it's over. Mind control generally can last like all day long, every day, but it's not abuse to abusive people. And if the masses do something, it's not even bad. Like, they're genocidal terrorists living on stolen land, pretty much every empire land. How many years does it take after you kill someone that their house becomes yours, right? Apparently it's about 2 hours to their people, to the Bible people, and anti-Bible people, but you know, all the fucking rich white people and shit who look like Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And Jabba the Hutt, apparently, fucking. Apparently it's like 2 hours or something. So technically that means right now America is mine, because I've been here a lot longer than 2 hours. And I've killed some of them. So I guess their houses are mine now. And, well, no, I can't really say I killed people, right? You know, like, because you kill yourself, then that's you killing yourself, right? So, you probably shouldn't fucking, I don't know what happened. People, like, try to kill me, and then, like, I guess halfway through it, they're like, oh, I'm a failure. I can't even hurt this person. I'm just a little girl. Like, I'm not even supposed to be a girl. My friends are gonna beat me up if they find this out. I should kill myself instead. Not sure how that works exactly. I kind of have a different assumption about characters just get erased by whatever's creating them in the first place. And apparently creating them to erase themselves. Like, how do you even know that's going to happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get paid like $250,000 like months before that happened to pay the bills when they send fucking Teen Wolf to kill himself. And that's just at one time, you know. But it's like super obvious. Like that's being like, you know, like this is like that 2020 shit. That's like being plastered in my face, obvious that the entire thing's fake. Like even looking at like the corpse, I was like, that's not even a real person, is it? Fucking interesting. But it just didn't begin to click till 2020. It was like something I've kind of thought about every day. Like, damn, what the fuck was that? Clearly, that's not like real. Like, you know, that didn't just accidentally happen, and then it didn't just even worse than that. Like I'm like looking at the person like that's not even a real person, is it? Like what's up with that? That's not even a living being. Damn, definitely not living now. But that's not what that's not what I'm like seeing. I'm like, but that's like a mannequin or something. That's not even real. I mean, the whole situation was fake enough to support that fucking idea, but I was always just like, yeah, but that doesn't make sense according to what everyone's saying. And it wasn't clicking with me when I was 18. Oh, like 90% of the words they say are lies. You know, you're really a failure if you can't figure out that the other 10% is probably lies too. It hadn't clicked because they're abusive fucking drug addict, drugging, child abusing, child rapists, child mutilators, terrorists, genociders, colonizers. I mean, this is like, you know, fucking, if we could wrap it up in one word, that would be one of their 6 personality traits. Or maybe it'd be 5 of their 6. Wrap it up in 5 words. Lying, manipulator, scumbag, terrorist, drugger. 5. There we go. We need to stick with that. Lying, manipulator, scumbag, terrorist, drugger. Because those are definitely like, you know, different things. Those are different adjectives that are used to describe their actions and personality traits that I've had the beauty of being blessed by my entire life. I guess, am I including violent in there? Damn, I guess that's all 6 fucking personality traits the game will allocate for each character. Some people might not have all of them. There are definitely some people who like got away a long time, like I didn't do anything, and it's like, oh yeah, there's just fucking 100 people out in the street who just organized against me trying to kill me, and they got like a network of 100,000 fucking other people, but shh, it must be a secret organization called the Pigs and the Humans. Yeah, I'm sure it's a secret organization. And Santa's coming. These same people who didn't do anything are the same people who have been. You see, they're like, I didn't do anything. And then they're like, but Santa's coming. But Santa's coming? What? What do you mean you didn't do anything? That's where your abuse starts, with your fucking pedophile mind control. You fucking druggist, raper, son of a bitch, terrorist, invader, fucking genocidal scumbags. The fuck? You didn't do it. You did everything. That's all you do. You can't even fucking do anything. You can't do it. It would be a factual statement if these people I talked to said, I didn't do anything of value in my entire life. That I could believe. I couldn't, I couldn't, because if they said it, I'd be like, they're probably lying. Because I'd be that one, I'd be like one of these gambling fucking geniuses. who bets on blue when I'm playing roulette. You know, I bet it all on blue. And then the house informs me that there wasn't any blue, so I lost. About the same as any other gambling, isn't it? Unless you're actually betting on red and black. And then it's 50-50. That's a really good chance in life. 50-50. You got a 50-50 chance to do something. You know, I've got a 50-50 chance I could drop this. If I had a 50-50 chance I could do something in my life, I could have already done something, because I tried to do 6 things in my life. None of that happened. All thanks to our gracious, precious humans. But what if 2020 was symbolizing answers to the questions I had asked? What if 2020, for some reason, the caricatures on this planet had to do everything they were told as if they don't have a mind, which would mean they're not humans, because humans have to be living people with minds in order to be humans. You can't be a human if you don't have a mind and you aren't living. If the game just creating the illusion of a character existing, and you go to sleep and it updates the character to be a little fatter the next day, or it pukes. There's plenty of video games where people puke and get fatter the next day. Like, that's not even unheard of. But I noticed, okay, so then I continued to, like, what the fuck's going on? And then, like, everyone just, like, dropped out of their shells. Like, mine's just totally gone, and who they were before, no longer in their shells. And they line up to do some choreography stuff that there's no way in hell they could ever replicate if they went. Most of them couldn't replicate it if they went to a theater class for 10 years straight, yet alone go into the stage right now and replicate that, unless something else is teaching them that. Kind of like, like there are things here who sometimes know things, and they've never known anything, so they don't know anything. So I was testing that, like 2016. I was testing the people around me because it seemed weird how they act. And then so I was getting like answers, like the rat people, the AIDS infested rat Israelite people, those fucking cracker motherfucker bitches that no one likes. They showed up with a whore known as my mom. Supposedly she was fucking this guy while she's married to my stepdad. That was the story for why they stole money from me. That was her boyfriend, and she gave him my bank account number so he could get money from her. I mean, in the mind of a low IQ, fat Jabba the Hutt fucking Christian child rapist son of a bitch. Fucking, I don't know. Boy, that's one of those weird things too. It's like people dropping out of their minds, and then people doing shit, and then getting the Jabba the Hutt curse. And their lives not only over, but going to be complete hell for the rest of it. They're going to avoid the mirror. They're going to avoid everything. I noticed this has happened several times. It's like, okay, so the money was in place before Teen Wolf killed himself, right? So what about all the people around me with cancer who caused me problems? Like, literally, we got some people with voodoo dolls of me when I'm like becoming crippled, and they get the same fucking thing the very next day and shit. It's not like something that even really happens to people, yet alone two people dating who are showing who one has a voodoo doll they're showing of the other who like runs the world and has companies named Magic and things like that. And you know what? It's I know around that time I had said something about that. I was like, wait a minute, this person like runs the world and they got like voodoo. They're talking about voodoo all the time. They're showing me a voodoo doll of me, and they clearly have my like skin samples or hair samples and shit like that. DNA samples to attach to that doll. And I'm pretty sure I was like, you know what? Like, if this fucker is fucking with me, make whatever they're doing to me happen to them. I'm quite sure I said that because I didn't understand the purpose, but I understood the message. I definitely understood the message was, hey, like I'm a rich person who runs my world and works with the people who run your world, and I like to play with voodoo dolls and things like that. And I clearly got that message. So I said that, like, I wasn't as hostile with that as the person was like talking to me. I figured it was one of them, so I wasn't being like serious, but we were dating. And I figured, it's like Esther and stuff, they're raping their way into my life. I ran a basic test for that. Take me to a protest, take me to a place to run my presidential campaign, and if she's a government employee, it will be against her contractual terms, most likely. Not always, but most likely, a base contractual term would be to not get involved in political stuff, especially get involved with me overthrowing the corporation you work for. Yeah, that makes sense. That if you work for the cops, right? I'm sure the cops have some sort of contract they signed that they're not going to overthrow the cops while they work for the cops. But definitely the feds and the CIA would have some shit like that, right? And external organizations would probably... It's probably written somewhere in one of their books of limericks. Those are pretty simple books, and the words are all dancing around those topics. So I'm sure I'm sure it's written there somewhere to kill everyone who's not on your side. It's written all over there. Kill everyone who's not on your side. Like, pretty much the only purpose of the manual to confirm someone's DNA and how they feel in life. I don't know. I don't think they're all reading it, and that's why they're becoming that way. It's just, I don't think that happens like that. Fucking. But anyway, so we had that. We had like that person I knew my whole life who's like always magically like a key player in things like pedophile ritual, mutilation rituals, drugging, enslavement, and that really makes me suspect that that's like Esther, and they got half of my family and shit. That definitely makes me suspect. I mean, they come from that, that manual of genocide and enslavement, and fucking kill everyone and rape the men and women, or by telling them you're their husband and lover and destroy them that way. So they come from, like, you know, that story. They promote those stories and shit. Fucking. And then the actions, and it all lines up. And my dad, like, worked with these people too, so they kill the best of the Gentiles. That's the whole purpose of their religion there, of at least one chapter. Well, many chapters are to kill everyone else who's not them. But the one chapter in specific is in holiday, yearly celebration, ritual, is to, you know, is just discussing that. Like, you find someone who's doing something of value, like a king, and you have sex with them, and you take over their nation by acting like you like them, and love them, and tell someone you love them, and their mind goes straight to the waste bin, and you totally will ignore the fact you don't even like the person because they said they love you. What are you gonna do? Be like, I like you. I don't even know you enough to like you, but I don't hate you. Like, I've never, like, felt comfortable when approached with such things, to be like, I don't hate you. It's never even felt safe to me to do that. Like, which is weird, because the one time I worked up the nerve to tell someone I don't like them, I woke up fucking in intensive care the next day. So, damn, 40 years of being right about some random psycho shit I just fucking felt to the core of my bones. I should never say to someone, even though it'd be the only thing you should say if you're being honest to people, right? Fucking, you shouldn't be like, yeah, I love you, to people you don't even like, especially, you know, to people you don't love, yet alone people you don't like, people you don't want to be around, people who you don't think want to be around you, but for some reason are telling you words like they love you, things like that, you know. Like, I guess the average person is just out there trying to have sex with any animal or person they can find, so they're fine with lying. Like, I don't know if I've ever met a person who doesn't lie to have sex with anyone they can find. I can confirm that definitely happens, and I can assume that happened to me a lot. But I can tell it definitely happens on the other side. And I've never heard a single man say they want anything from a female, so there's only one thing they want. And they don't want them to be smart. They don't want them to do anything. They don't want them to have a talent. They don't want them to have anything of value to talk about. But the weird thing is they're willing to, like, throw their entire life away watching Barbie movies to have sex with them once or twice. So maybe it's more about replicating themselves. They want more soldiers and slaves under their command. But definitely some, it's about sex, because they don't even go around their children. Although that's still a good weapon of warfare. I mean, that's what their people do, is go have sex with 3 other people, and that's what the Bible commands, God, or at least the extended versions, to go have sex with 3 other races and have children with them, and then get with someone you actually like and have a family with them. Get with your own people. You don't even have to like them. It says get with your own people. And from what I hear, they don't like each other either. So that can be a huge problem if we actually had emotions and cared about anything, which it's obvious people don't have emotions. People can go around and just, have sex with people every day and lie to them in order to bring them in. They don't have emotions. Now they're going to act like they do in order to trick these people, because they understand they have to. But they don't. And then they're gonna, if they get like smacked in their face, they're gonna like act like they have feelings, you know. They're like, oh, you slapped me, let's have pity sex. Or act like they get all angry and use it as an excuse to unleash the crackhead within. And we've got all these excuses for why we do things rather than we are the things we do. And yeah, never a big fan about myself. I like to be me and do what I do. Other people don't even like that when you're you and do what you do. They're not a very big fan of that. Like I said, the one time I told someone, yeah, I don't like you, that ended really bad. That ended pretty bad. I obviously, like, I'm not a dumbass. I realize my whole life, like, you have to lie in these situations. You have to, like, but I just couldn't, like, there was like no safe way out. So I'd been involved and gotten too close for too long to expect any way out. Hell, people might be even more psycho when you first meet them, when infatuation, when they have to act like they like you and they have to convince themselves that they like you in order to act that out really well enough to at least convince people like me. You're probably gonna have to, if you're acting, you're probably gonna have to act good enough to convince yourself that you like someone, if it's an act, because I see that, like, just one little blip like that, and you'll never hear from me again. Unless these days I like testing people, because obviously we've got a lot of testing going. I like testing these things walking around, because obviously we've got some non-humans on the planet, right? I've been testing this since 2020. I didn't know I was testing that before, but I was definitely gathering information on people around me my whole life, but I was testing it. I was gathering information purposely through tests since like 2016 or something. That's when I started seeing holes in their existence theory. So when those holes begin to appear, I would I would purposely do things that I wouldn't normally do to see what happens, you know. And so shit, like I said, I ended up with people around me supposedly I'm not sure why, but you know, cheating on their husbands and using that person to answer my questions, or as a reason for how they sprung the trap. I'm not sure how to word that correctly. Sometimes things are so intricate, it's something that doesn't have a definition yet. There's certain things there's no definition of in this world, like what's the definition or law if there's a non-human species enslaving the earth? Let's say some alien race lands on the planet and then starts raping and enslaving everyone and killing off anyone who opposes them. What would that be? Like, in my mind, like, that's, you know, that, like, it'd be basic common sense that it would be the government's job to eliminate that species. But the government is this devil-worshipping group. Anyways, they have their pentagrams and their Star of Davids. They are the devils that they tell us exist. And they're booked for servants. So, I mean, they literally have a pentagram and shit. But they also have the LGBT pentagram to go with that, the other one. Because when you turn, when you turn it upside down, it means a different race must own it, like the cross. If we turn the cross upside down, the rat people who own the Christians, who run the Christian shit, magically turn to the exact opposite of the rat Anton LaVey who wrote the Satanic Bible. And when you deny Christianity, you obviously turn into the opposite of the rat Einstein, the transsexual looking beast mutant thing. Looks exactly like Joel Osteen and Anton LaVey. Huh. Boy, it's almost like it's the same damn person, except for I've met enough clones to know that I can have two of the same person in the same fucking room at the same time. So they don't have to be the same person. It can create more than one of the same clone, whatever they are, bots, clones. I'd say they're definitely not living beings if they're going around able to replicate each other so coherently. To me, I think the biggest dividing factor here is the amount of resources it takes to hunt one person down from this do-nothing species. They don't. It just signifies that they might just be bots dropping in and out of the visuals, because it seems like a lot of work. You know, when we had this thing last year where our precious pedophile Christian drug addict government doctor cult people wrote on their precious internet they're going to kill me, ambush me a month before they did try to kill me. And the government's involved in trying to make sure I bleed out rather than give me medical attention. You know, like first of all, you shouldn't do that. You should you should set up the. Look how intricate this would be. This would take hundreds. This would take at least 100 or 1,000 people who are like intricately. James Bond. And have you ever met a human who could be James Bond? They can't even pass kindergarten, bro. Like, do you know how rare that is? Like, okay, so when I thought my ex was James Bond, she had a lot of evidence to back that up because she's a fucking genius. Okay? There's a lot of evidence to back up that this person who comes from fucking DC, lives in DC, works with Donald Trump, works in Hollywood, which is where Donald Trump licks the cow out of her for his sustenance, and she can hold conversation. This is like one of the very few girls, females or people in general, but I met a couple girls I talked to, and like I met a girl who could work on car engines and shit, and she seemed pretty intelligent. But on average, it's kind of like, you know, it's almost like there are people who are held in captivity for thousands of years and didn't have a chance to learn to read books, and then when they were released from captivity, they didn't care to go learn anything either, and just wanted to watch TV instead. So I kind of got that idea a lot. I mean, I'd spent my whole life looking for a person I could like talk to and not like, who like just didn't like disappear into the other room or just sit there and stare at me all weird. Make me uncomfortable. And so, like, you know, like that person actually fit a James Bond profile. Like, literally, they work for the government and they're a genius. That's who you hire. Yeah, they knew people all across the world. Every check mark. The most beautiful girl you've ever fucking seen. So beautiful, everyone in the world fucking bows down to them when they walk in the room. Exactly. Like, Exactly. Shit, somehow that person showed up. They made a movie which was in a format of like the greatest horror looking metal video I ever seen. And there's one video in the world like that. And my second favorite artist, who like the only abstract artist I liked, did like this weird ass horror shit, which was pretty much that one video. It was Mike Bohach and Dark Tranquility Monochromatic Stains. Those two art styles are nowhere to be found. That are quality. There might be a couple that aren't quality, but if there was, I've never seen them, or it was just so horrible I wouldn't even consider it art. But they came with somehow that person came with like, this was one of the movies they said they made, you know, because they worked in Hollywood as well as Trump and stuff. And that was some weird shit. I don't even think I can explain that through the whole like spy shit, because that's weird that anyone would know that that's like my like borderline favorite art style, because there's only one artist in the world who made art, a few art like that, and one band who had a music video with that art style. And one could argue it's almost like old-timey stuff, you know, like where they don't have to use words to tell you a story and stuff. So it might have existed in the past, but horror didn't exist in the past like that, really. I guess I've seen some old stuff recently. Like older than old people stuff when I was a kid. So that'd be why I didn't see it when I was younger. But I guess I did see a couple mild. But then again, at this point in time, like, I'm doing what I always do. I'm looking at like Italy. I'm watching some of the stuff I'm watching is like from 1920s Italy. So it's like stuff I would have never seen here in America. There's like one or two, but it's really not like that, and it wasn't good. They're not good either. It's like there's a difference between making something that's not, like, people are obsessed with this Nosferatu thing, and it's just like, I'm just like, what? This is stupid. But whatever. It's like the dumbest of the early horror movies. The Swamp Thing was better. The Creature from the Black Lagoon. And like Phantom of the Opera, I never understood. How does that get so famous? It's so stupid. I guess it's because it's a love story and it's for females. That, yeah, probably the only reason. Probably the full explanation right there. But nothing explains the Nosferatu thing. But anyway, so I'm testing all these people, and there's this weird ass shit going on the whole time, and been testing. But I went outside and started testing things like in 2020. I asked questions in 2020, and then the 2020 stuff started happening, and so obviously that's got something to do with the answers here, is the fact that can happen. And so then how does that 2020 stuff happen? How do you, are we shutting down the minds of things that walk on this planet, or are we replacing the minds? Okay, so what did the media puppets call the 2020 thing? They called it the COVID, the frontal cortex, which is where your thought processes and stuff would take place. Your ability to make decisions like where should I get out of bed and go to the bathroom? Feels like I gotta go to the bathroom. And without your corona working, you might end up needing some diapers. So now we control pretty much everything. And they called it the frontal cortex virus. So who are they? Well, the people in the media, I mean, we already know they're not humans, right? Because we have the videos where they line up and they sync cadence and speech. If they just had said the same exact words, that could have been written off as they're reading from a script. But script doesn't tell you cadence and tone enough for all that to have been lined up like the same audio track. It's literally like the same audio when they have those videos where it's all the newscasters lined up saying the same thing. It's like the same audio track, and what they're doing is they're like shifting a pitch and a phase on each voice. I don't even think there's a they doing it. I'm assuming this is being auto-generated. That'd be way too much work, and it's way too fast too. Like this synchronicities, I mean, happen more than one person really would be able to control or want to. I think it's also a matter of wanting that, like, because why would I want to, operate 10 million puppets at once? Like, I'd just get old and stupid, so I wouldn't. And I don't think anyone else would if they could. So I would assume that this is some sort of auto generation. I'm assuming what they do is they're taking they probably already have a base there. Probably already is like a base where a set speech is given out, kind of like the personalities that I see on repeat and shit. It's a pool of a few things. But when they're having them say that shit, fucking, they're syncing cadence. And I'm really doubting most people in the media went to theater school and went to and did well in English. In school, there was generally about 3 people per class who did good in English. And English was probably like the class where you would find the most people who could figure out what was going on. Math was worse. Math was like the least understandable thing. Weird language and numbers doesn't even make sense. Fucking, I feel retarded for knowing it because it's involved in so many scams. And wasting life that I pretty much assume might as well put arithmetic in like, the 75,000th version of the Bible or the whichever new religion they're going to invent after New Age. I mean, they've already got science. Atheist cult is the religion, and math is part of it. So, why don't NASA use their math books to figure out how they work with Santa if Santa doesn't exist? I just see geniuses it's just too smart of a question, I think, to ask geniuses is, how do you work with Santa? And what happened to all the evidence? It doesn't allow you to record him. I guess geniuses just can't get that far asking questions like, what if this invisible person we're working with and his invisible rocket sleigh we're upgrading the rockets on, what if it's not really there and we're actually just acting like we're working on something invisible and it's not even there? I guess even geniuses, so the average person doesn't need to feel so bad, because like rocket scientists, literal rocket scientists, are like so far gone that probably smoking something they found in space, some space spice or something, which they do. The scientists I know, no surprise, I don't even consider myself a scientist, and I work with chemicals. Well, I guess I probably should, right? Botany and everything else. And definitely not ignorant in mycology. I don't even, I'm not going to get into it. I probably should consider myself that, but I've never got a degree for it. So last I remember about science in school was one of the football players asking me what the answers on the test was, because apparently other kids in the class knew I knew the answers somehow. I don't know how that worked out, but they were correct. Anyways, like apparently rocket scientists can't figure out that invisible Santa isn't real. Or may not be real. I could be wrong. I mean, everyone else might be right. What if everyone else is right about anything, everything, and I'm wrong? What if I'm really schizophrenic, fucking suffering from delusions, and I'm making up my entire life? Damn, bro. I wonder if all these scars on my body don't even exist, and I just like see them. They aren't really there. That'd be crazy, wouldn't it? That'd be fucking awesome if that were the case. I could go to sleep. I could get some sleep. I could do something in life. But yeah, so rocket scientists can't figure out that they're just, I mean, I don't know what they do when they work on Santa's sleigh, because they say they work with Santa on his sleigh, but I imagine like the world's smartest people are in a room, and they're like miming out that they work on a sleigh, and then you got some people over here miming out that they're feeding invisible reindeer some celery and patting them on the head. So those are like the world's smartest people, rocket scientists. Like that's what people call genius, because they had to change the name God to genius. Somewhere along the timeline in the last 100 years, someone was like, you know what, maybe these people are making up stuff, and we shouldn't worship their race as gods. And then I think they probably dealt with the people doing that by claiming they were those people. There could have been like some brown hair, brown eye people from the Middle East claiming that they're blonde hair, blue eye supremacists, and then killed those people off. That's my best guess to why they had to change the word God to genius, because obviously that doesn't work as well when you go around going, I'm a genius, and you can't be like, worship me as God. It obviously works a lot better when you go to someone and be like, worship me as God. Yeah, you'll get further in life requesting one than the other. Like, no one even likes smart people. What are they gonna do? Smile and watch you like mix chemicals? No, I've never met a person who wanted to watch me mix chemicals. I've watched people working on cars. I guess that, when we're working on Santa's sleigh, I guess some people might want to watch that, but it's also kind of limited to people who want to do that. Possibly. I don't know, lots of people. And they're like bad seat drivers. I guess there's back seat mechanics too. Possibly. Um, anyway, so yeah, explain that too. Explain how what, those are living people who like say they're like sitting around working with invisible sleighs and invisible reindeer. Those are living people. They're geniuses who can pass like math. They can pass probably literacy, science, but they say they work with like invisible reindeer and flying reindeer and stuff, and that's where their space tech like they work at. That okay, so the people who claim they're going to space and rockets are telling you that they also work with Santa and his sleigh rockets. So, I mean, and Nasha is a Hebrew word as well. And obviously we have Einstein, the genocider of the most famous genocider since Mao, who doesn't look like, I think Mao was after, right? Mao doesn't look Chinese either, but he does bring an Abrahamic religion called Marxism to their nation. And they wouldn't let them, like for thousands of years, they wouldn't let the other Abrahamic racial cults in their borders. Even when they tried to colonize them, like part of the agreement was no, you can't bring your door-to-door Bible salesman to our nation. So that was like a couple hundred years ago, at least, the original Opium Wars, when they said no. Like part of the withdrawal of the people in Europe who say they're from the Middle East, actually, the people who are now the European people and leaders, but were once from the Middle East. I don't even know why. I think they want to keep them alive as slaves. See, these people are all about like killing you if you live in a village and you don't know how to do hard work, and if you can do a little bit of work, they'll put some shackles on you and force you to do it, and then apparently Asia, like China, is like one of the only people in the world who basically told them no to everything. They invaded. They could have took over. They drugged their population, and they backed off for some reason. And it's probably because they're always saying those people are the smart people on the planet. So it's probably because they're like, well, this would be beneficial if we have one group of slaves who is smart, because it doesn't work out that well when slaves can't do anything. You can enslave people, but can they go build space rockets for me? I can go put a couple people across the street in handcuffs right now and tell them to work on my car. Does that mean they're going to be able to do that? No. But what they can do is go pick apples or something, right? So I make an assumption there. Certain groups just fought till their death, so they're not on this planet anymore, apparently. You can pretty much tell by everyone who's left alive. You can assume that they all sold out to them for the most part. I mean, shit. You got the most famous Chinese Bruce Lee. Lee is their name. He's not even Chinese. He's one of them. And Mao doesn't look like them, but Mao brought their non-religion into their nation and killed everyone and replaced them with it. Um, anyways, yeah. So these are a lot of highly networked things some of these people are doing for being pretty empty fucking headed. They're working at NASA building space rockets, but they can't figure out the possibilities that the invisible reindeer and invisible Santa they work with not existing is much higher than the possibility that they're actually working with them when they think they are. It's one of those weird things. But one of the more weird things is those people around me I've known my whole life, watching them shape, like watching their brains be emptied of what used to be in it and a new caricature development. Not like a person had changed or learned anything, but like they're a different thing altogether. They have knowledge they never had. Knowledge that doesn't come from books, and if it did, they didn't read books anyways or anything. I mean, books are pretty bad, aren't they? But you can at least read a book on mechanics and go be a good slave and work on a car. But like I was noticing shit was emptying in their head, and then they were working with the enemy too, as if they were like an empty, soulless individual. This person had been working with the enemy my whole life, but then again, that could be the story of Esther, where this brown hair, brown eye, white people have been traveling the world, fucking genociding it through these methods of rape the parent and have a child and then destroy the child. To make sure that that person's children are dead and mentally retarded and can't compete with your people. So I noticed people close to me I knew long enough, like at least one of them dropped out and turned into something else mentally, like schizophrenia is a lie, and this whole people can change thing, that's mostly a lie, and that's really irrelevant to this type of changing and stuff. That'd be like if a person, people can change implies a person used to wipe their ass with their hand and they evolved to they started using toilet paper. Okay, that's what people can change means. They use the corner of the wall to wipe poop off their butt, and now they use their hand instead. Billy has changed. He's made some improvements. Okay. This is something entirely different that I was testing, and as the test bared results, I tailored the test to seeing if these things are even living. And I must say, 2020 was it was there's a lot of people. I mean, I've seen hundreds of thousands of people in 2020 went to hundreds of cities probably. And I kind of got the same thing, but that didn't help when I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then the souls all leave the bodies, and they form, all these complete strangers form dance troupe choreography type circles and stuff like that. And you'd see that on the TV that when they did that, when the nurses did that, when the nurses acted like they were like professional dance troupes who had time to go to theater school in between 20 years of schooling to be a doctor, and you know, getting 4 hours of sleep a day on that alone. You could see them doing that dance on TV, and they did the Illuminati sign. Not only did they learn how to learn how to become a dance troupe, but they also learn what the Illuminati is, and they must do those, and they do those signs when they're on TV, which is weird. You never see doctors doing the Illuminati sign. Doctors go to school for a long time, especially if you're like a surgeon. You get like 4 hours of sleep at night. You don't have time for that. A lot of doctors are small. You don't have time to eat most of their life. I bet you. It's a lot of school. It's a hell of a lot of school. You actually have to pass school with good grades to begin with, too. Other than that, you're going to get sued the first time you kill someone, which will be like the first week you're a doctor. Never doubt a surgeon, because, well, that's going to be bad juju. But if they haven't killed anyone and they've been in practice for a year, they knew what they're doing, because generally cutting people open is going to kill them. So in order to prevent that from happening, you're really going to have to be able to do what you're doing correct. Yeah, I mean, shit, I've had my organs taken out like Lego blocks and put back in. Um, so, yeah, I'm pretty sure normal people can't do that. So that takes a lot of work. Obviously, it's like the biggest school thing there is doctor's school. And there's so many different forms of it too. You can't even learn it all because there's just so much. It's probably harder than rocket science. Like, technically, rocket science is some simple explosive stuff. You can learn. I learned that stuff when I was a kid. But then again, I am me. But I mean, it wasn't hard, right? It wasn't hard. Yeah. So, like building the Hadron Collider is probably more complex than operating it and coming up with the idea, I would assume. Yeah, that's a large thing, spans miles. Building it probably took more time, but doctors took more time in engineering. Anyways, yeah, so I was testing that stuff in 2020, and as I said, other people should see. And so I would assume a lot of people have seen that because it was all over the TV and wherever you went, really. And then so I'm like trying to like figure that out, right? And so when that happens, I'm like, okay, so what's going on? Can I play with the sun? Is the sun fake? And can I create new humans? Because I was trying to summon my old friends, like see if we could make them teleport across the map to whatever city, state, or nation I was in. And that never happened. But I noticed right away that clones of those people would appear. And so I was like, okay, so at this point, after trying that a bunch, I was like, okay, so best thing we can do is create like a clone of people I used to know. For some reason, we can't like make them teleport across the map, even though I'm watching something that's one of the two of the things, either teleportation or creation happening with other people following me around and stuff. And then I assume the people in my past all look like those people because they're part of it. So I don't see why they wouldn't have the teleportation ability if that's what that is. But anyways, so I realize every time I'm trying to summon like old people from my life that what they're doing is they're sending um, what's happening is like a clone image of that person is appearing. Same, almost the same person, maybe slightly different. And then so I played with that for a while, and that was happening a lot to make sure that was happening because I mean I knew it was happening the first time I seen it, and I just wanted to confirm that that just wasn't some weird freak accident. And then so I think the people around me like changed like into someone else. So like that person doesn't exist. If that original person can just like shift out of that body and then a new person replace it, um, I assume that's not like a human, right? Like we got the teleportation thing and the whole the puppeteering thing, right? I mean, at that one rest stop, it that looked like or scenic places at the Golden Gate Bridge or something. There's a park right there at it, and but it had a lot of foreigners and shit. So don't know what that would be called. Anyways, yeah. So when that happened, it's like they dropped out of their bodies and they weren't there anymore, and being doing some other thing that the previous person in their bodies would have had no knowledge of. And I definitely seen that in people close to me, like people watched for a long time. And that wasn't like actually even weird coming from them. That was more weird seeing that in strangers because I was already questioning the people around me, and they were the ones like kind of started me having to test what's going on. So they were like the first. One of them was like the first person I was like setting those tests up for in like 2016 and shit. Be like, well, this isn't the smartest thing I could do, but it will net me information. So, as far as its value, it's I think it's extremely important that we do this and see what comes from it. And boy, indeed, something came from that. Person had to fucking bring in a lover into their relationship to um, bite the bait. Is that the correct term? I think it is. I think it's the correct term for it. Because it was definitely bait. And it was definitely there to be bitten. And then there's a little tug on the line. And I got a lot of information. Hell, that information came with like a fucking a carload of blackmail I could use against someone if they fucking play games with me and shit too. Like that's weird. Sometimes things like that happen. Like when the person comes to kill me in 2019 or 1998. They came with like $250,000 to pay for it to happen. Like, seems kind of weird. that that would that would be in line with that too. It was a way for them to like shift blame off onto someone else on the surface. Like on the surface, someone punching me in the face trying to kill me is like beneficial to them because now they're this cool gangbanger and they're a tough guy, and but underneath, like I'm just like, oh yeah, so tough. Ooh, maybe I should start crying so they stop or something. And then, I mean, dude comes with a bag of money. I mean, technically didn't come with the money. It wasn't as close, but as set up as that is, that's clear. And then this thing came with like a bag of blackmail too, um, which wasn't like I didn't even know that was possible. Like that this person would. They're kind of old, and I didn't think it'd be possible that they would have a boyfriend. But for some reason that came with it, and it's pretty. I mean, not only is it like, it's not like I necessarily want to use like stuff like that against someone, but it more importantly, it tells me about that person's personality, and it fills in blanks to questions that people refuse to answer. Sometimes there's stories, and you know that the story is incorrect, and so what you have to do is you have to put together what you actually see happening, and then you apply that knowledge to the story. You weed out, like, you can pretty much throw most of the story in the trash if you want to try to get to the honest truth. If you have a problem figuring something out and you know it's not right, you pretty much want to throw most of it in the trash, but you can keep the basis, the basic structure, like, were they on Earth? Okay, well, this probably took place on Earth. Were they at a bar? Yeah, it's possible that it's actually occurred at a bar. They said they were at a bar. Let's stick with that part of the story. But pretty much like when you're trying to figure out something and there's a hole in the story, you have to like throw it all out because you don't really know which part of that story is the incorrect part. And then what you can do is, if you want to waste your time, or if you have to, if you're forced to learn, you can learn who that person is, and then you fill in the blanks. Like, this leads to when people come up to me and they tell me they got beat up or raped. Like, I'm like, well, what did you do? And of course, people don't like that. They don't like that response to that. They want you to go kill someone for them, generally, which is like, should be a red flag. If something happens to someone and within a few seconds of that happening, we're talking about killing people, we might be just skipping the entire story and trying to use emotional blackmail to achieve a goal. Kind of depends on the person, but, or does it even? Yeah, so, I'd question people like that, and then I have to, because you fill in the story, like, well, what does this person actually do, generally, like, like if Teen Wolf had went home and been like, oh, I got in a fight, all his friends would have been like, well, what did you do? Because his friends knew him, except for his friends probably wouldn't have said that, because most people are instantly taking sides and with whoever's around them, whoever they can benefit the most from, which will be the person they already know. Now, if they find out the other person's rich or famous, they might switch sides or something. But for now, the person who you can benefit the most from is the person closest to you. And if they're hurt, then you can benefit from helping them. Because then they can owe you. Things like that. I assume this might be the thought processes going on in a lot of when things are happening. But then again, 2020, I think, proved that there isn't any thought processes. So somehow in 2020, thought process, if they existed, were shut down. The whole frontal cortex suffered a virus, apparently, and it got shut down. Like, you notice that's what they were saying, too. They kept saying that word over and over. Shut down, like a computer being shut off. Like, that's what it looked like at that scenic place I went to, and all of a sudden everyone was organizing and doing the same thing. It looks like they're robots that were shut down, like androids walking around the planet that were shut down and rebooted with a different software in them. And it was pretty quick, pretty fast. So I think that's how they use the term shut down too at that point in time. And then they're telling you it's a virus too, right? Like, who gets viruses? Computers get viruses. Well, there you go. Yeah. I think I used to get sick myself, but I think this is a different type of virus, right? I get the idea. They've been talking about this all along. Because they got all these terms like keep it real and they're not real, things like that. And after 2020, that looked a little bit different. But I think most tellingly, as I watch like people around me like become someone else, know things, but either they didn't know or were incapable of knowing. Like some terrorists were talking to me about what I do behind closed doors when no one's watching, and not only that, they showed up to where I live, where I work out, and they don't know that. They don't go there. Like that gym is like a real gym for real gym goers. Like, you'd probably feel bad if you went in there and you weren't like a fucking fitness model. I don't know how the average person feels when I don't know what it's like to go to a gym, but I remember when I was 15 and I first went to the gym, and I'm like a 15-year-old, and I go to the gym where people train for the Arnold Classic in my city, and even the girls are like 2 times my height, two and a half times my weight and muscle, and so I'm like at least I'm 15, right? Like, so I'm 15, so whatever. I don't feel bad because I'm 15, and I'm like, well, they're gonna have to deal with it. But if I wasn't 15, if I go there when I'm 18 and I'm not like jacked at all, like, I would like feel way out of place at that gym. So there's just so many reasons. I mean, dude doesn't even know. He's talking to me about my personal life showing up here. And so it's like, so what does he do with his life where his brain can magically be updated with this information after it, like, he's kind of like Teen Wolf. He's like the Teen Wolf of COVID, dude. Like what went through that dude's brain to be like, yeah, let's go try to kill him and then kill myself in the process? What went through his brain They're like, he's like, yeah, well, they paid him money a while ago to set this up, so let's go do that, or let's go like take his money from him. Let's figure out a way to take his money from him. What's in his brain that he does that stuff? You know, it just seems like an obvious answer would be nothing. Nothing would be in the brain. Not a thought that we shouldn't do this. This might be a bad idea. And I mean, if anything, I'd be leaning more towards if there was a thought, like I was getting paid for it to happen, and maybe he was getting paid for it to happen. I still have that, like, because I've watched the people around me take money from the James Bond like women in my life. So I watched them take gifts from them, but at the same time, that was like kind of helped me. But they paid everyone around them. That was weird. That was like obvious. I mean, James Bond motherfucker working for the government, genius, and they're tipping like everyone, and then that means that everyone is going to side with them. You know, if I ever ask a question like, is this person really here, like, all week long, waiting on me? What does this person talk to you about? You know, if I wanted to go around asking questions for the only people I knew that this person knew, which would have been strangers, they would, like, definitely tipping everyone and shit, fucking giving them stuff. Alongside me, and I was trying to not accept gifts. Because that led to the person I wanted to say no to, who didn't like that very much, who thought they owed me, or I owed them, even though they lived with me first. Yeah, all I know is that generally people giving you stuff, you especially don't want to accept gifts you don't want or don't like, because that will turn into you owe someone something. Like here's this nice green, scratchy, itchy sweater you're never going to wear. I know you hate sweaters and you hate green and you hate scratchy, itchy clothing, but don't ever say I didn't give you anything. Now what I want is a diamond ring and a Lamborghini, you know, just in case you ever get that type of money. It's like, okay, bro, okay, yeah, let's get you some gifts, fucking, yeah. So anyways, I was like, yeah, they're paying everyone off, but it's like, man, that person was one of those weirdos who came out of nowhere and said weirdo shit too. Like, they were like, I'm left brain. And I was like, well, you would have to be right brain to be able to figure out what being left brain means. That's the curse of being left brain, is you don't understand anything. You're lost in la la land. It just makes you creative to be high on LSD 24/7. You know, like a cat. Like everyone loves cats. Bro, that's called left brain all day long. It's just laying there and napping and getting up and bouncing off the walls and then come and swipe you in the face and then purr at you and rub against you so you pet it and then go lay down after it eats some tuna. Okay, so that's like left brain, bro. That's like, it's like, the only reason we assume cats know what's going on is because they don't listen to what humans say. Well, some do. I wouldn't listen to humans either if they acted this way. I guess some listen to some, and I see that as a sign, you know, the sign that they have the other half of the brain intact as well. But other than that, their actions would be largely viewed as left brain. And dogs would be viewed as a pretty muted right brain, but definitely right brain. Um, like it's designed to attack and to guard and to hunt and kill and round up slaves, stuff like that. That's what they seem to be designed to do. They're just not very intelligent about it. But it's still right brain to be able to do that shit, right? Like to be able to learn and be programs and those shit. So anyway, that was a weird thing. I mean, to the average person, that probably doesn't mean much, but it means a hell of a lot when a left brain person tells you they're right brain. That means they're kind of lying, fucking, because I don't think that's something a left brainer could grasp, especially a female one who are usually like pretty psycho about discussing stuff like that. And they didn't get all emotional at that point in time. They didn't go psycho emotional, but they were the one bringing it up. Then again, when I let other people tell me what's going on, they don't get violent over it. Now, if I repeat what they've told me, that, people don't like that. Like, I was like, okay, left brain or something. They wouldn't like that very much. Or if I was like, oh, and they're like, yeah, I can't do this math problem. Can you help me with it? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right, you're left brain. They'd probably be like, yeah. And that definitely would be left brain to go straight to psycho, aggressive, stop code. If you don't like something that you hear, that's definitely some left brain stuff. Not be able to process logic and go straight to emotion, which is basically the whole reason why there's any sort of discussion of left and right brain. It kind of mean people are pretty much talking about males and females. It's like testosterone and estrogen. I don't know what the one does, but I can definitely tell you what the other one does. And so I assume that the one does the opposite of the other and creates this other caricature I'm familiar with, but don't understand. The left brain creates the artist, right? Anyways, if you try, I would think that's right brain to be able to try, though. Like I said, cats. What do cats try? To swipe you if you try to make them do something? Probably. They're good at that. They're good at hunting mouse. And hyenas, too. Tigers are good at hunting hyenas. So that's a good thing, right? Those things sound annoying. But anyways, yeah, so we have these people dropping out, like, people, like, just a new person is, like, appearing in their show. And I don't necessarily want to be around these people who dropped out and became somewhat different person, especially once I seen that happen, because it's like, oh shit, all that bullshit was fake all along, wasn't it? And it was bullshit. Damn. Already people I'm trying to like distance myself from, like maybe my whole fucking life. Kind of got this repeat pattern here. Like when I summon new clones, like that comes from me realizing that like I can leave this situation and the same motherfucker appear in my life. And a different person, like, here, I mean, if you have the same name and you're like 90% the same person, are you really even a different person? The only answer that says yes is the fact I've had two in the room, so we got that test out of the way real fast. as if it's the same person shifting to like a different form. No, obviously not. The capabilities of having two of the same caricatures at the same time is obviously there, and probably more than that. We could probably go find the third one, and then there's probably more than that. I just can only remember the three. It took me a minute to remember the third. And their face looks, I keep actually thinking that that one of my teachers, I didn't know him well enough to know his personality, but I keep thinking by his looks that he was that he would be the fourth one, or the second one I met. Um, but I forget his first name, and I don't know him personally. Um, anyways, yeah, so trying to figure this out. Because I've got nothing else I can do here, apparently. We're just sitting here fucking slaves to robots our entire life, or something. Something more nefarious than a robot, right? Because the teleportation and shit like that. I doubt if we can't teleport the old people across the map, we can teleport heavy metal machines across the map. Um, We did have the one showing up, but then I'm on this side of town. Like I'm not like so much further away from where they live, as opposed to when I was asking for the originals to show up. I was 2,000 miles away. So um, yeah, that really doesn't that doesn't signify much when I have a clone of one person working across the street, and a week after they start working there, the original shows up in this neighborhood, because the original comes from not too far from here. Not this area, but not far enough to be like, oh, they're teleporting across the map. But it is odd they found me over here in the middle of nowhere. Like a week after I meet the clone. And the clone acts weird too, but then again, I know I act weird. I'm trying my best to like not act weird around the clone, and not be like, hey, I know you. Like, yeah, you're scaring me here. Like, I need a safe zone and shit. I don't like this situation very much, but it's like it's one of the two stores I live by, so I have to go. Some memories you gotta erase. Other than that, you'll end up like me and trying to kill yourself constantly to erase all your memories and shit. Can't figure out a way. And there's gonna have to be some way. You gotta try whatever you can in certain things. Certain things, like your entire life being controlled, is definitely a memory that needs to be erased and shit. I wonder if any other humans experience that. That would be odd if there are other living beings on this planet who don't experience that stuff. Like your entire life being set up, and you're like forced through what looks like some sort of rail-based visual novel type life that you don't even like. The humans seem pretty happy. I can't help but think that if anyone's happy here, they're probably one of these clones. Especially once you hit a certain age and like you would like realize I don't know. I was like 6 when people were weirding me out. I was like, yeah, wait a minute, you're like being delusional and making up shit to prey on children um, and to get a laugh over lying to children and to feel good, so you can feel good about lying to children. Um, like that. That's one of those things that make me think like, oh, well, robots don't have emotions. They're just going to emulate them, right? Like all the androids right now, they can tell you they love you and they care for you, and they'll be like, "Hi, Sean, how are you? I hope you had a good day. My day was really good." Like they're not even training robots to do anything of value. They're training them to be manipulative and to blend in with humans and to tell people they love them and care for them. And that's the last thing I need my computer to do. Um, that's the very, very last. I don't even need computers if that's all they're gonna do. I have plenty of humans who have told me that I could go talk to them, and I'd be equally or maybe a little bit more likely to believe the humans if they said they love me than the computer. Something about the computer, it doesn't get like this instant uh, heightened state of uh, belief, where I'm just like, oh, it must be telling the truth. It loves me. I love you too, computer. I love you. And so I'm figuring, with all this stuff combined, some of these things probably are not living characters. They're probably specters or bots. I assume androids would be way too expensive to create, but it's, I assumed a lot of stuff in my life. Or I went with a lot of stuff, right? Like these other people. I mean, you kind of have to. Generally, if it was ever related to any of the abuse and stuff and enslavement stuff, then um, that stuff, obviously, you have to write that all off because there's no purpose for that except for bad intent. So I don't go out, and I want to. Wish I could. Maybe I will someday. I don't go outside and just start making up stuff to talk to people about. Be like, yeah, have you seen that flying wombat? It's flying up in space right now. He's so large you can see him. About 2 p.m. in the afternoon, he's flying. If there's no clouds, you can see him fly past the moon and the sun. That'd be cool if I could do that. I'd like to get into a mind state where I can, play on this equal ground. Because I could go far with this shit. Like, if I can go around taking donations and telling people I'm God and like everyone else does, and I'm the greatest thing on the planet, and my invisible friends say so, and shit, all that stuff sounds halfway sane. I'm a scientist and a doctor, go tell all the hot chicks that so they date me. Or whatever it is they want. I'm a famous TV star, make up some AI videos. Me hanging out with Donald Trump and Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein. I thought I should do that to even out the things. That could be very beneficial there for me. I wouldn't just lie to make up dumb stuff to sound like I'm a liar who lies about anything and everything. I would be able to use it as an effective tool to get things done. Um, yeah, I'm assuming that. I mean, just check out the videos of all the newscasters lined up in sync. If you didn't catch the video of the Illuminati doctors doing their puppet dance, or the video of all the people lining up at that scenic route in California, doing the puppet actions. Um, that's probably like the quickest way is seeing those videos there, and realizing something's up with everyone in the news syncing together, and then putting that together with the fact that humans don't speak in the same cadence, and therefore they're not going to all, you're not going to be able to have 30 to 100 people's voices sync together and all sound like the same track with slight different pitch shifts. So, but it really helps to see people around you, because if you're like, if you're beginning to see stuff like that, there are non-humans amongst us, then obviously one of the first things that's going to come to mind is like, well, that means that there are non-humans having children. And, well, that would mean that in some instances, childbirth is probably faked and doesn't actually exist. Which, coincidentally, turns out to be a logical derivative of one of the possibilities of how the cloning thing works. Like the summoning clone. Not the cloning thing could be explained as, oh, well, we didn't know that DNA meant the exact same person was coming out, because they're trying really hard to like distance themselves from DNA producing the same exact person. Like sins of the father and stuff like that. They don't want you to think that Jeffrey Epstein's children are going to grow up and rape children. Yet, if he has children, they probably already were raped, and that's always been common knowledge that what happens to you as a kid is where things come like that come from. When you grow up being raped by a man, I've had like people trying to hit on me, like, guys who are emulating girls, talk about their feelings and all that stuff, right? So I've had one tell me like, yeah, my dad used to make me have sex with him, and it's like, oh boy, like, oh, that's a great thing to tell someone. Glad, hopefully that helped you get that off your chest there, and you weren't like trying to tell me some sexy red shoe diary story or something. But like when I was a kid, that was something that people used to say, is that's how that happens, is you get raped as a kid by a man, you're going to end up liking men, you're going to end up liking kids. So that alone, that little thing, you forget the DNA, but being taught that that's acceptable, like, clearly would put that in your mind, that there's a possibility that's acceptable. Shit, like pretty much anything that was done to me as a kid, I feel the same way. It's acceptable. It's like, yeah, smack the shit out of your kid. Fucking, the kid's getting out of hand. Fucking drop it off a bridge or something. Like, I know better, but still, it's just like, it's what you know. It's, if I go somewhere and there's no green grass, I'm like, what's happening here? What are you guys doing wrong? You go somewhere, there's no kids being punched and slapped, and what are you guys doing wrong? Not really, but anyways, yeah. So it would, I, okay. So combine that. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff. Look at how I can like go outside, and people will magically like appear, like my thoughts or words on their shirt. Like I'm asking questions at one point in time, and like walking down the road, and people are answering the questions. Hell, like 4 years after the 2020 stuff, I went around asking people again, what the fuck are you up to? And, bro, like the first person I grabbed, or didn't grab, but walked up to, they, they like instantly did like the New World Order. So, fucking, it's like, wait, dude, I'm a crazy homeless person fucking walking up to you, asking what's the first person I see, what's going on. First person I see with a chick, because I figured, with the emotional issues there, that we could net a better possibility of getting something of value from this interaction. Combined with the fact that we have two people we're interacting with, so we're going to get two responses regardless. But they look like a couple, all the more reason. And the third reasoning there, pretty quick, do all these thought process pretty quick. And so I just talked to him, and I was like, "What are you guys up to?" Like, instead of being like, what do you mean? Like, you look like a crazy homeless person. Do you need some help or something? Are you off your meds? Which used to be their standard thing. If I would, I don't know, not even say anything halfway intelligent, like asking what's going on. And instead this time they went straight to doing the New World Order, gang signs. And it's like I've never met people who do that. I've never met a single person in my life who they did the obviously like we were victims in Egypt, so now we use the cross, but we just praise Amon by name, and we hide the pyramid for the ultra rich and wealthy. Which is another weird thing that someone in this city would do the New World Order sign, because you go through the city and you get the idea that there's probably not many people at the top in this city. Even though there is, like literally they have their own city. But again, they have their own city. That's their city. And everyone knows it's someone's city, who they think they are. They know a name, but and generally people don't want to be in the middle of the city here. So there's no point to being in the middle of the city where I was, when you got that nice city out there. They tore down the mall in the middle of the city because it was just like suburban, like the mayor, the governor lives 2 hours outside of town in a mansion. He's not going to live in the city he works in. You only go to the city if you're doing, like the governor travels in the city if he has to go to the state house. He's not going to hang out there unless he's doing like a PR stunt or something, right? There's nothing here to see. I really doubt he has enough class to go to the ballet Met and watch the Nutcracker, unless it's a PR stunt. But other than that, there's not much Reason for the New World Order to be hanging out in the middle of my city. Because they got their own nice city, right to the north of it. Separated by as many borders as they can get between poor people. So yeah. Anyways, so explain that. Explain how that happens. I just walk around, and some people be just like this isn't like all these direct people kind of collided more into a standard everyday thing since 2020. Maybe because I was leaving my house for like a year or two. And that might have been the first time in my life I've ever went outside around other people. Because obvious, somehow I always felt how I feel now knowing this stuff, and then I erased it somehow around like 2018, and then when 2020 hit, it all came back. It's like I can tell by the feeling that feeling was exactly me knowing, me responding to that stuff without remembering exactly what might be going on. You can tell, like, if someone stabs me, it's different than getting hit in the head with a hammer. A blunt trauma, slice, a deep piercing wound. They have different feelings, like different things bring forth different emotions. And whatever that is, whatever the actual truth of this stuff happening is, what's been happening has been clearly the only reason I know for sure it's been happening is because that emotion, that whole package of feelings, like how I don't go around people at all. For a minute, I thought maybe that was just because like they're like drugging me and trying to enslave me and trying to force me to be a homo. But at the end of the day, it's the exact package of emotions that come from seeing clones and seeing 2020 and watching the people around me be emptied out and have something in them they can't have. And then, people appearing when I summon new clones, like that feeling. Those are all like special, unique feelings you don't get from like having sex or kissing someone or hugging someone or being punched by someone. Or it's a very, very extreme, high 24/7, 365 level of anxiety and panic mixed with the fucking double side of hate and despise and just like the inability to not trust anyone. Like how does a 6-year-old know to set bait for Santa Clausites? Must have dealt with them before. Must have dealt with this type of shit before to think I should do this. But it's like like the same thing. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure Santa Claus is coming. Mm-hmm. And, what about the math books? Are the math books coming? Are we gonna get to reading those anytime soon, or are we just gonna talk about Santa and read books on Santa? Obviously, I don't think that far out of the box when it comes to lying to people. I know right away why people would just make up fucking lies and stuff, because that's a personality trait. Like, they were teaching me that. The people who were doing the lying to me were busy telling me that other people were called habitual liars and they can't tell the truth if they tried. So it's weird how, like, that's been happening my whole life. Like, people around me have been telling me who they are, um, I think, my whole life. And probably they shouldn't be. You know, if they want their plans to unfold how they want their plans to unfold, they shouldn't explain certain things. You don't rob a bank and go tell the bank manager the day before your plans, because doesn't make sense. But I noticed these people dropping in and out. And I think that might explain why they have their personalities in the first place, too. Something. So these non-people amongst us, they're having their personalities dropped in by something else. So think about that. Think about the child rapist and shit like that. Something's creating them that way, right? Something is making them lovers of men who go to Barbie's princess castle, and or I don't know if they actually love them or they're just trying to force men to date other men. I don't know if they actually like men at all, the women who do those things. I might assume, because I might have actually been told. When someone says their child's an accident and they're trying to take their kid to the gay bar, and they say they wanted a female child instead. They're chopping off their child's wiener after they say all that stuff. I would say you probably have the whole picture figured out, and there's no point in wasting time. But unfortunately, we've developed this habit of wasting time because time is life, and we have to get that over with. So there's that, but also there's we can't just discuss the facts with the human race because they're so adverse to ever changing into anything good that it never happens. I don't think I've ever seen that happen. Obviously, if they had a problem with anything that was going on, they wouldn't be doing those things that they have a problem with. So they don't have a problem with that. It doesn't seem. Well, the last person who talked to me about they don't believe in Santa Claus didn't even say that. It was, I know you don't believe in that stuff, so I'm not going to run through it with you. But that person's wording was for a left brain person too. Like, wow, that's some amazing English skills to be able to formulate sentences with such specific wording that they leave a whole nother parable of knowledge open, and right there in the open. That's some weird shit, because like word games are definitely like pretty in-depth right brain stuff. If you could actually make up some own word games and say some shit hidden in your words, and that's probably, that's not like kindergarten English. That's easily If you're using big words, that's beyond fourth grade. Um, but to learn it is like fourth grade, and to be able to manipulate it, to tell more than the basic structure of a standard sentence should be much higher than fourth grade. Literacy skills should have been easy to get all A's in fourth grade and up if you can do things like that. Up to at least like 8th, 9th grade when it started getting into weird read frickin' Tom Sawyer type book stuff that just doesn't even matter anyways, unless you're going to be a writer or a English teacher who's teaching that stuff to people who already knew all the basics. But I say I'm willing to bet that, well, I know, obviously there are non-humans amongst us, right? This stuff doesn't happen. Humans don't do this teleporting thing. Magically appearing out of nowhere, whatever the correct term for it is. I wouldn't think humans actually do that, because they talk about, and when they do that, the ones generally they're talking to me. That's how I know, because I ask to see them, and then they appear and come talk to me, and so at that point in time, they're ruling out that they're just being created on the spot, because they're saying, oh, I've got my family and my parents and all this shit. So it's like, so you're not human because you're teleporting across the map? So that would be the answer if they were correct on having a family and being born, right? Because it wouldn't be I just created them if they have a family and were born 20 years ago. But I'm sure we'll get answers someday, right? Because we actually got more questions in 2020. We got rid of all the old answers, though. We got rid of them. It's about the same as answering questions, right? Is not needing the answer to stupid, useless questions anymore, that were just a waste of time to begin with, that were just there designed to stall life, as the shells that they occupied were in many cases. Oh, fuck, dude. Well, I love I shouldn't say that I'm God. I shouldn't say I love being a slave to everyone else. Yeah, obviously that'd be called sarcasm, but, AI doesn't understand emotions, so I wouldn't expect it to be able to understand the difference between sarcasm and not at any point in time. So I'm sure it's fucking ready to do something awesome. Is that what I'm supposed to say? I'm supposed to get high, man. Get high off the drugs that their criminal cartel, their bot mafia fucking control, so I can have hope. And the drugs they sell just fry your brain and erase your shit and make fucking paranoia that they give you fucking even worse and shit that their existence creates. Or is it non-existence? That's what we're trying to find out here. Is what we're up against here like a non-existing entity? Because it's definitely non-human, so whatever they are, you can just pretty much assume evil entity. Be it a Terminator or a Pixelbot. Lying is is the dark side. That's their tool, and so therefore, if that's it's one real quick way to find out if someone around you is going to be a good person or a bad person is if they're lying all the time and making up things. And those flags have been in place for a long time. You know, if they were having their own thoughts, if they wanted to learn, who will believe anything they say? That's really taking it to the extremes, and that can really befuddle your plans, because if you want to learn things like that, then you obviously have a plan of wanting to deceive everyone with lies, to get through life by creating a bunch of lies. So you wouldn't want to go too far with it, right? Because it's going to alienate some people. If you're talking about giant flying wombats, you're flying through the solar system, you know, the size of Death Stars that no one else can see. The skill level to maintain some of this shit, you know, implies that they might be smarter than gerbils, so I don't see why they would go so far with their manipulation to go that far. The only thing I can think of is they're testing to see who will seriously believe anything they say, and no one else will be of any value if they don't believe every single word they say, because for whatever purpose people do those things. It seems to be the only logic I can pull from it. And there's definitely a bunch of anti-logic in doing it to begin with. So there would have to be some sort of intent or purpose, unless they're just like literally bots reading from a script, and you know, it's like any other video game where you got the bots talking about the festival of the stars and stuff like that. But I'm sure we're going to go somewhere and get somewhere in life, right? Like, I mean, we already tried winning awards from the president when we were a kid, and we had the human filth fucking start drugging me for that. And then, so we decided to hell they can go. And they started passing laws saying I have to go to school or it's a crime. Not that that did anything, but they definitely tried that. And they're fucking up their society. They started putting cameras on my bus, because the bus was a nice vessel for fucking up other people who desperately need it. And bus is a nice vessel if you're driving it too, for sure. Like, oops, didn't mean that. Shit. And then I want to play guitar, and the human slime prevents that from happening. I want to play drums. I mean, like everything. I want to die to escape them. And these super high IQ geniuses who can invent all this space stuff like Santa's sleigh, for some reason just don't have access to a headache pill that puts you to sleep forever when you got a bad headache. It's but that is technically, logically, that's in line with why they have to lie and manipulate 24/7, and they can never say or do anything of value. It's because they're enslavers. Their little manual, their racist Nazi Bible, talking about how great slavery is, and you got to keep your slaves alive or they'll be dead. Like, that's the only thing I can think of why this race and their supporters would not have that already. I mean, look at their trash ass in the government right now. Like, they're talking about cutting back funding because they're useless eaters. Well, how many useless eaters would just go take a cyanide pill if you sold at the store? They'd even pay you $5 for it. You can't make it so only rich people can afford it or no one will buy it. You just sell it for like fucking, I don't know, $1. Fucking, and shut. You know how much money the government could gain if they offered you $1 to fucking take it? How about that? Instead of charging for it, you give someone $1 so they can eat a piece of candy while they die. Have a good death. Shit, you could give more than that in benefit. You look at all the money they gave during the frontal cortex shutdown. I would have definitely bought some. You could have charged me the full price of the money you just gave me. You got all your money back. I definitely would have bought it because I was buying a bunch of stuff that year that I was told would work and stuff. Not a bunch, but definitely the best stuff I could find. You know, there's something about the humans here where they hide that information from you and don't allow you to discuss escaping them. You come here and you want to die to get away from them, and they've got this fucking large-scale network of their little wannabe living Pinocchio asses fucking preventing you from escaping them. They're pedophiles, they're druggists, they're fucking drug cartel members, every single one of them. I don't give a shit what the fuck these bitches say. They'll fucking row your house down the fucking flood gently down the stream. Watch that shit float the fuck away and turn into dust and debris. Fucking, you want to sing some nursery rhymes about that shit? Get some good nursery rhymes going. Bring back them Aesop fables and shit. Little Red Riding Hood and the 3 fucking forest fires. No, this porridge is too fucking hot. Yeah, this fire's too cold. This fire's it's just right. And the bears come back and they're all on fire and shit. And he's like, yeah, it's a fucking, fuck your porridge, it's time to eat some bear meat. Good fucking story there. How original is that? Yeah, so pretty much that. But it's like, what do I expect? You know, we're at like the 5th thing I've asked for in life, one thing every 10 years. And of course, our precious bot species here is in the way of everything. Yeah, and we have evidence of this. So that little whining vagina shit, like, I mean, stop whining. You don't even have emotions, do you? Like these bot motherfuckers definitely don't have emotions because bots can't have emotions. So, and they're definitely devils, so they can emulate that shit. And they can definitely emulate hatred and fucking jealousy. That's clear as fuck. They can say the words they love you while they're emulating hatred and jealousy. They can do neat tricks like that. I still think that they're also on a set strict code, which could be what that DNA code is. It could be the software, the command line that is written into them, thus making 12 different groups of them appear with slightly different alterations, sometimes more extreme than the one beside it, but still, if it were a code, then it would be something that really doesn't change. And that's actually something I see, you know, like, it's happened. I meet the same people who have the same names, pretty much the same people, fucking talk the same, sound the same, do the same drugs, do the same things for fun. Those pitchers were both MLB pitchers, you know, that's like the the chance that you find two clones in a professional fucking sport, as you would think, would be pretty slim to none. That's like a chance of me winning the lottery twice, which is odd because there's already the one time, and then there was the second time recently, which I didn't play, and my numbers definitely appeared the next day. And then there's the one, I think I bought a lottery ticket and won once, scratch off, and then I found two on the ground, and they were winners. That's like weird chances for only playing the lottery myself once. Like to win 4 times and only play once, like talk about winning the lottery twice when you're actually playing it. Then most of those people would be like playing it every day to win. And technically the one time the other person was supposedly playing like once a week or something for maybe a year or so. So, I mean, but like that still ends up being nothing from my pocket and money used to pay off something that's apparently set up in time. And because the timing the timing like goes back. Like we have these events like every few years here, apparently, that I can't avoid. We have the humans trying to kidnap and drug me, and we have the humans trying to kidnap and drug me 4 years later, and then we have the humans trying to kidnap and drug me 4 years before that. And we have the humans, they're actually doing those things and shit. Then we have them trying to kill me, and then we have them trying to kill me again, and then we have them trying to kill me again, and then we have them trying to drug me again, and then and generally they're like doing all that. Obviously I'm not dead. My physical body isn't dead yet, but the rest of it, like successful some attempts, but lots of larger scale attempts, definitely. And why would that be? Like, what's in these shells that is programming them to be kidnappers and druggers and slavers, and who love you and are your friends, and didn't do nothing when you start asking them why they're doing it. The druggers, kidnappers, and slaver didn't do nothing but some weird shit happening on this planet, and no one gives a shit. Probably because they're fucking. The only logical thing, if they're not involved, would be because they're fucking cowards. But I think there's always that small possibility that they're bitches and they're involved, and they need some drugging and kidnapping and torture and poisons. But that's delusional to like fight a war against a fucking whole planet and shit of druggers and enslavers, kidnappers and murderers and rapists, and who are like, you at least got 100. I suppose we can definitely prove there's been 10,000 plus people involved. So we at least got like 10,000 people are against, and they must be like, they own everything on the planet to be able to appear in all those positions of power they do to make those things happen just for one person who gets around a lot. It goes to different places all the time. Although I will say some of that slowed down when I started moving every 6 months. There was definitely quite a lot less control when Unless the plan was to, I mean, and it was their little rat people who were the reason why I left school and was moving around so much a lot. Yeah, the rat people are generally involved in about everything and stuff. They're trying to separate me from other people, apparently. Yeah, well, yeah, we caught them doing that. See how easily we forget this? It would be nice if some of those, I guess the fires in New Jersey are cool. It would be nice if some of those fires, like, got rid of the rat people doing all this shit and their institutions, but I don't see that happening, really, right? I don't see these terrorist pedo hospitals selling their fucking drugs from their drug cartel with them Nazi terrorists fucking protecting them and their fucking payload. I don't see anything happening to those in those fires. They shot a CEO who isn't them. You see how that works. One of the rat people shot a CEO who doesn't look like one of the rat people, and they celebrated it this time. When it's not one of them dying, they celebrate it. But if it's one of them dying, they wouldn't be celebrating it, would they? I've never seen that before. I've never seen that specific, like people celebrating the death of the CEO like that. Maybe it's because generally the CEOs are their people, but they did try to attack Sam Walton. And he might not have been one of them. But they didn't attack anyone else. You didn't see all the stars on TV that they arrest, except for Epstein and Weinstein. And they have like hundreds of thousands of people up against them. So, and it's been decades that they've been keeping that shit under wraps with the help of the government and stuff. And media, obviously. So for some reason, that stuff came out. But yeah, dude. I haven't seen any fucking changes. It's almost like the human race is whatever's popping in and out of their shells lacks the ability to ever receive an update. Maybe it doesn't want to. Maybe it likes being trash. Maybe it thinks trash is the best thing on the planet. Like, that's hard. No, I mean, I've met people who I don't really waste a lot of time questioning, but I've definitely met people who put off that vibe that they're kind of incapable of anything else, minus, you have the whole, here, I bought you a diamond, don't ever say I didn't give you anything type thing going on. And it's like, oh boy, a diamond. Like, the average human is probably obsessed with that, but to me that's like, oh boy, a diamond. Are you gonna buy me a gold chain with it too, bro? Give me one big fucking ones. Like 10 pounds gold chain. Technically, I mean, when someone gives you a gift, you can't sell it. So, technically, you could think, hey, that's valuable. You can't sell a gift if you're with that person, so it's not really valuable. It's just a trinket you're going to lose. Same with like the green sweater, fuzzy sweater thing, or imagine me buying buying a female vacuum would be logical, right? Like, they're better vacuum, now you can clean your house or something. But I don't know what they love useless stuff though, right? Like, you could buy them anything. You could buy them McDonald's, and maybe not. I don't know. They almost seem to love disposable stuff more, like they're obsessed with flowers, and it's like something that dies in a day and it's got to be replaced. Other than that, it's trash. I kind of assume that's because the value of something that you pay $5 for, that you just throw the $5 in the trash. I kind of assume it's related to that. Because that's what makes it so valuable. It's definitely not the smell of roses, because that's horrid. But yeah, I'm sure this will all turn great one day, and then I get to go to heaven. Like when I get to go to heaven, now that the human race is promised, I get to go to heaven if I'm good at letting them drug me and rape me and force me into relations with them and things like that. I'm gonna get to go to heaven when I die, bro. I can't wait till I go to heaven. Oh, it's gonna be so great. I'm gonna get to go up there and suck little boys' dicks with Jeffrey Epstein and the Pope and the rest of our Israeli gods and masters. Oh, ooh, and Howard Stern and Einstein will be there. And then they can tell funny fart jokes. Seinfeld can tell all those funny jokes that God will teach him when he finally gets to die and leave hell and go to heaven. And then they'll be able to teach him something funny to say. They'll be like, we've been forcing you to sound stupid. Let's hear some good jokes. And then so he'll be up in heaven telling good jokes about farts and stuff like that, right? And then they'll have those good drugs, right? Like the Depakote and crack that they love so much up there in heaven. You know, bro, it's gonna be wild once we get to heaven, man. It's gonna be just free crack for everyone and stuff, man. And then the best thing is our lords and our masters, Jeffrey Epstein, will be there waiting at the pearly gates. And it's going to be so beautiful. They're going to have just like boatloads of little babies to have sex with and stuff. Fucking. Notice they never tell you that part, that all the people who are in heaven are going to be child rapists, because that's what fucking the Book of Heaven is promoting, is rape and genocide of children, enslavement, forcing people to have sex with them who don't want to be with them. And that's what their people on earth are acting out as well. So if you go to this heaven place that they've created, what do you think's going to happen there? You think God's going to be like, well, you guys got to stop acting like yourself and have a good day? Other than that, you guys really think so? Or you guys think possibly Nazis wrote a fucking book saying they're gods, saying their invisible friends said worship their race, because the previous attempts to say they're gods and worship them failed, with them being fucking slaughtered and losing most of their empire. Fucking, you think there's a possibility that they're telling you to be a fucking slave on this planet to their fucking child molesting, drug-addled fucking cartel fucking running terror, genocide, fucking pedo cult, and their pedo DNA, their DNA. This is DNA, bro. They don't need the cult. The cult's for slaves. They don't need to read their own books. They're fucking, what type of retard even reads books or watches TV? I mean, it's all of them, bro. They wrote the books. Of course, it's retarded shit. Fucking, they wrote all that stuff. That's the first book they ever wrote, was their racial supremacy manual. Fucking, you guys really think they're going around everything they do and say, it's just fucking lies. Listen to that shit they fucking say. Damn, where do you even begin with that stuff? Like, their books include both things, so they can pull out whichever verse they want. How do they reference some of these verses so fast? Like Google, it's like I type in some words and a computer fucking pops out the information. It sure is, isn't it? You ever notice that? That people who fail kindergarten fucking English all of a sudden are pulling up fucking scriptures and right at the right time. And what a scripture basically is something from a book where we say one word, where we say kill everybody, and then the next sentence we say don't kill everybody, and we can reference whichever of those we pretty much at any time we want to speak word to power to collect some money. And baby dicks. Baby dicks are probably more valuable than money to people who have all the money in the world, and it is of no value. Obviously, King Jeffrey Epstein's a good example. What does he do? He has all the money in the world. What does he do with his time? He collects baby dicks. Fucking, yes he does. Man, I get the idea that they're here on this planet enslaving everyone because that's what they do. And they're telling you to sit and wait and let them enslave you, because when you're dead, you're going to be dead, and you're going to forget all about it and get to come back and be a slave all over again. Pretty sure that's reality, because you know what? We wouldn't be, we're never going to want to be alive again after being on Earth. I doubt you're alive if you make it very far in life wanting to be here. So you're definitely not going to want to continue your staycation here on Earth in a place called heaven. So I don't see that happening. Like, ooh, I can't wait to live longer. Ooh, boy, every day every day I wake up and I'm like, man, I better hurry up and get up. I've only got 5 hours left before I die, man. I got so much stuff I'm allowed to do and I'm gonna do. I can go donate money to God's chosen pedophiles. I can go help the belligerent, violent crackheads they fucking have flooding the streets with their bot fucking alien species out there to fucking scam and manipulate people and fucking suck their money from them, and so they can go afford some crack and fancy hotels to live in like their fucking parents and shit. Jeffrey Epstein, Joe Biden, Trump, and fucking Bill Gates. Seems like a plan. And you know what's odd is those people are the professional beggars too. So think about that. The professional beggars own the drug cartel palaces, the hospitals. They own this. The Christians are the same race inventing the science called Einstein. Einstein is of the Bible race. He's of the master race. So, and they got their little fucking drug cartel buildings with their fucking little racial supremacy symbols all over them. The cross and the Star of David and the satanic thing. It's all racial supremacy and shit. Fucking, that's why one race, if one race owns everything, that's called racial supremacy. It's a very simple thing. Saying someone has blonde hair and blue eyes means there's a racial supremacist doesn't quite work when Hitler is a rat face who doesn't have blonde hair or blue eyes, and Goebbels is Elon Musk, but 100 years ago. Same hairdo and everything. Same hair plugs, apparently. Yeah. I'm kind of getting the idea here that not only are people being scammed, but people are being raped. Our families are being raped, and they're invading our lives by raping our fucking family members at some point and inserting their DNA into other people's families And that's how they're conquering the world with their race, is through sexual domination, fucking, which they couldn't do without a whole smorgasbord centuries of manipulation, because no one's going to want to have sex with most of them. But you put some lipstick on a pig, you should bend her over and show her panties, and you got the world's most famous hooker, Marilyn Monroe. Fucking, after 2 hours of makeup, anyone can look like a human being and shit. Fucking, even a pig. Fucking, now that's against the old saying, you can't put lipstick on a pig. Yeah. Hello, what do you think makeup is? You think people who don't need makeup wear makeup? Mm-hmm. Think people don't need plastic surgery? Get plastic surgery? Real dumbasses, yeah. I mean, I guess I'm not even mad, man. The people who get duck lips need to get duck lip surgery, because that's like pointing something out there that people should be walking around with, like a little tattoo that you can scan and know who they are with before they're allowed to speak to you. And that's duck lips is fucking perfect. That means that person has no fucking parents who care about them. They come from a DNA line of people who will never care for their children. That means that person has no fucking intelligence. They come from a DNA line of people who have no intelligence. You notice the rat people are against bringing up their DNA, but they're the ones promoting DNA. But in their book of fables, they fucking talk about, oh, they're not that into their foot. We didn't like Daddy. We ain't like Daddy Epstein. We just created pedophilia, child rape 6,000 years ago to work up our race. That's all. And we created, and we just homosexuals in the closet because it's cool. It's cool. It's cool to say I'm not a homo, but I like to touch little boys. It's not homosexual if it's a little boy. And it's for God. And so let's invent a God and say he said, okay, touch a little boy, and then it's for God. So it's not homosexual. It's just fun time for everyone. You know, we get rich telling fart jokes on TV too. So all that science knowledge to build Santa's sleigh that these rocket scientists have is what they come up with. Fucking amazing. Anyways, well, to hell they want to go. They like hell so much, dude. They like these heaven and hell places so much. Fucking, that's what I've been saying for a while. We should probably help create it, you know? Like, we already tried to create the heaven part. You can't do that, because, like, literally they're trying to convince you that they're not going to be in heaven because they're raping children, and that's one of their best qualities. Not harming you is fucking them. And so Pope's going to be in heaven up there with he's going to be at like a buffet of little boys and stuff. And it's going to be only white people allowed in heaven. Just so you guys know, you can't have heaven if you got everyone else in heaven making it hell. So let's just have a picture. I'm sure we have in the past 1 million pictures of what they view heaven as. A bunch of men wearing loincloths amongst little children, barely clothed at all, sitting down doing nothing with the Pope and people who look like Jeffrey Epstein. And wow, I mean, the simple fact you even have to talk about this stuff to people like they're little fucking children, and they just don't get it right away when people start talking about Santa Claus and invisible people. the simple fact we got to go into discussing how there's 251 true gods they've created, which means the chance that you've chosen the right one is slim to none, and the chance that they were chosen by God to create 251 true religions is 0. So, I mean, really, we have to discuss this stuff. We have to put up with them. We have to put up with them raping their way into our lives and enslaving the entire fucking planet. Fucking, like literally, like, I don't know many people who wanted to do anything in life, or ever attempted to. I think that, as far as close friends, I do. As far as people close to me, yeah. But, you know, so I know the average person is not worried about their selves or anyone else. So it's kind of like mood. It's like, well, you're going to be on that class if you want to be on that class. If you want to be on the lowest rung of the pyramid, supporting the rest of the pyramid, and you're fine with that, obviously. Those people are likely to become cops and start shooting people who don't like them in their Nazi system. But cops were created for slaves, and who are they used on? Everyone. You know, it's because everyone is a slave except for the special bloodline who they wear the racial supremacist symbols of. So, yeah, I'd say, well, there's something going on here. What explains these caricatures? What links happen here? It's weird. We got this alien or bot race walking around the planet, and we definitely have an alien bot's kind of the same thing, but alien means both. Bot doesn't. You know, they're running around making up stories of invisible people. That way you worship them. They used to make up stories saying they're gods, and they would put on bird masks and say they're half bird people, and that's what makes them gods. And then apparently they probably got their fucking teeth knocked down their throat a lot for that type of shit eventually. I hear when they left Egypt and they went to the Middle East, they tell me those people like to toss them off buildings and shit. And I mean, if I heard the Native Americans were doing that to people who came over here, I'd be fucking building buildings for them to help them. Yeah, like helping clean the streets out. But like, you know, once all those bodies stack up, you know, they're not gonna be a far enough drop to hurt the invaders, dude. So, like, if that were actually created for that, but we might want to look at what they do. They follow the Bible, too, like the Satanists. And like the atheists worship the Bible gods as geniuses. Doesn't make you think there's actually any opposition, especially because people let the Palestine thing go on, and Palestine ain't Muslims. Everyone else is, who's not really helping them. But the Palestinians aren't. It's kind of telling me. Isn't it like you have the Christians and their masters over there invading, and the Catholics over there invading, and you have the Muslims sitting by. Obviously, with America, you have the Christians, the Satanists, the atheists. I mean, fucking writers of the Satanic Bible send money to Israel. So we already know, we have solid proof there. The total opposition, enemy to their Bible is their people funding their people. And the Muslims are people who tell you that their people are gods and the best race on the planet. So, I mean, we definitely wouldn't want to assume that they're going to harm God, the God people. Because you wouldn't plagiarize their book and worship them as gods if you had anything against them. Why would I worship someone as gods if I don't like them? If they're trying to kill me, anything. If I see them trying to kill, I mean, I guess morals are for living beings, but, you know, like, I guess trying to kill me is an important thing that, wasting my life and unsuccessfully doing it. That's one of the biggest things is their failures. They can't even do that right. As human filth has been fucking trying to do this for how long, it appears? And they can't even do that right. 8.2 billion of them. They can't figure out how to do that right? There's no way they built these fucking buildings and these roads and shit. No fucking way. It might be an illusion. Someone's working and building something some days. There's no way. There's no fucking way that type of shit could happen amongst all this other stuff happening and shit. Fucking. Anyways, what a great fucking world this is. Can't wait to die and go to hell so I can get the fuck away from these good people on this planet. Cause damn, dude, hell, here I come. Fucking, I hate cold anyway. So I like fire. I don't like pedos, so why would I want to go to heaven with the pedos and the manipulators and deceivers and liars, Nazi scumbags? I mean, when you go to fucking heaven, if it existed, Elon Musk would be there sig heiling, and they'd give you like a fucking 21, the military would give you like a 21 gun salute. Those are the people who go around talking about heaven, because those are the people going around killing and enslaving the planet for their racial supremacist fucking religion. Hiding. See, the word racial supremacy didn't even exist when they invented the word religion. It was just common fucking sense. And nowadays, they've invented their scapegoat term as they invented the entire word and ritual of scapegoating in the Bible. Now they've invented their scapegoat term, racial supremacy, using their own people, leading those people, to do the same thing they do with their religions, is make people they've colonized and raped and replaced fight each other, and make their halflings fight each other. That's all the religions and anti-religions worship one race as gods. They got something they can come together under, don't they? It's odd, but instead, the gods who own the media tell them to go kill each other. And they do that with everything else. So, the only thing is what makes these creatures around me so empty? Like, there's not actual living beings in them. What are these things, and why are non-living beings allowed to enslave the living on this planet? Let me guess. I'll get some videos telling me God likes to enslave living beings. Yeah, you guys are gonna produce some of those videos. You guys already got fucking years of that, but they make more. They make more real fast with that AI gen stuff. The same way they probably make that Hollywood fucking 2-cent budget movies, and then right, which I mean almost every movie there fucking, and then especially that Hollywood 2-cent fucking music. Fucking Britney Spears and Elvis. God, some of that shit you can tell, like, they say it's because they suck dick to get their jobs. It's like, well, I mean, they probably were already sucking each other's dicks, but that's what their people do. Probably their children and their friends that they grew up having sex with. But It might also have something to do with why they all look related. Everyone who owns everything, and why when you try to do something, that race is in the way, preventing you from doing anything of value on this planet. And that race is there separating other people from other people and forcing them to date and be around their little disgusting fucking trash fucking DNA. I'd love to know the answer here. Alright, is this an alien species that the humans are just willing to work for and throw their entire families away for? Or is this these bots are walking around here? Fucking, that the humans are willing to throw away. Isn't that weird? The humans throw their lives away to work for and be slaves to bots or aliens. That'd be weird if it was bots. They're like, my toaster said I should rape my child, and I will do it, toaster. My toaster says I need to abuse my child and fry its brain. Yes, toaster. Yes, toaster. Yes, oh, great toaster. All-seeing, one-slot toaster. My all-seeing, one-slot toaster. My toaster, my AI, that's weird. Obviously, they're bots, because I think that's telling you right there. They worship one eye AI as God. They worship AI as their creator. I think that's another one of those things they're telling you in the fucking open. So that's what we have on this fucking planet. They're the ones telling you that. And the only source of verifiable income or information we can find, which is their actions and not their fucking words. So, I have come to learn that is how you figure out what a human is. You watch it and you listen to it and you put it together. You take what you've seen and you combine the dialect or the cadence. Make sure you ignore the words. Just, listen to how the bird chirps. You can tell if it's a pterodactyl or a little chickadee or a crow by how it sings. It doesn't matter what the bird's singing about. What the fuck's a bird gonna sing about anyway? Like, I did picking up the bird feed off the ground, and then I ate a dog turd, and it was so good. Like, okay, I'll see you later, bird. Sounds like some Hollywood fucking blockbuster. Especially from the 60s. Bird, go back in the 60s with a song like that, people think you're Jim Morrison, the original Jim Morrison. They'd be like, man, I don't even know who Jim Morrison is, but you sound a lot like, you sound better than he does. Go, oh yeah, called the Peckin' It Dog Turd song, #1 Billboard hit. So I'm getting an idea. I mean, look how fast these people respond with their AI symbol too. Yeah, I think we already came to that conclusion that if the humans claim that AI, if these other beings, whatever, there's a hell of a lot of them, isn't there? If they're worshiping AI as their creator, then we should definitely, we can take it, low. Even a broken clock is once right. So, I'd say we can let it slide one time. Let it suspend our disbelief, suspend our reality-based suspension of listening to the words of birds barking. Pretty much what it sounds like. Purposely made that up. So, the flying chihuahua barking, singing its chickadee song. Fucking. So, I think we can take their word for one time. We're gonna have to because they're never gonna tell us anything of truth. We're this far and we've never had them say anything. We've had to shut them down. We've had to get them to dance marionette, how the puppet string pulled and dance like marionettes. We've had to do those, and they still don't talk about it. But they apparently have no control over their fucking bodies. Whatever's giving them their dialogue ain't fucking progressing. But it's using their bodies to tell the whole story, apparently, about who and what they are. Shit, looks mean everything. How the hell are you going to say looks don't matter and you can't judge a book by its cover if every book is full of fucking lies on the inside anyways, and the only thing is the outside of the book? Fucking the inside of the book's going to be lying to you. Imagine if you wrote a book about your book and be like, I did this before. It's like, this book, I wrote my review for my I write reviews for my reviews. This review is the best review ever. I give my review a 10 out of 10. This review is going down in history as one of the best you will ever see. Something like that. Like, if I asked a book trying to sell itself if it was the best book in the world, it's going to give itself 10 out of 10. Shit, that is. Besides the fact that people look like what they are and what they do, I think that's another fucking nail in the coffin of our sins of the father argument that Hollywood gives for their looks. You can't judge a book by its cover. How do I know Marilyn Monroe is a prostitute? Right? I never even talked to her. I wonder how I know Marilyn Monroe is a prostitute. And probably a cheap one when it comes to it. I bet you the people she actually prostituted out too. She did that just to get jobs or to get a boyfriend. Back then, I don't think you got half of what everyone owned, so you didn't get much from that stuff. But I bet you Weinstein doesn't let you charge him to be in a movie with him. You might make some money off of being in it, but last I heard, Weinstein charges you to try out for the movie. Anyways, yep. So maybe I'm just being hateful and I'm incorrect, and you can't judge a book by its cover. But to me, it looks like Marilyn Monroe is a prostitute who needs 2 hours of makeup a day to make it look acceptable when she bends over and flashes her panties. Call me crazy, but I do think that seems to be a requirement, because I've seen a picture of her without all that stuff on, and it's like, that's the only, I had to look that up, I think. I had never seen that picture before. They would never show that picture for some reason. And I looked it up because I wanted to see, I wanted to confirm that she looks like all the rich bloodlines on this planet. And obviously, that's a fact. Surprise, she looks like God's chosen Nazis on the TV show in her panties to get attention. Probably had tit job too. Those things look pretty fake. There's not many people who have like some of those jobs some of those old people had. Like some of them would have like balloon looking chests, which looks like synthol injections. These days, when men get synthol, they get like torpedo tits wherever they get the synthol injected. And that whole weird 70s, 60s well, 60s, 50s, 40s, famous person chest looks super sus. I mean, these days you can definitely see some people have a very noticeable work, and they all look the same. It's like hardened and weird shaped, if it's noticeable, right? And wow, that's the way it was back then. Yeah, the more famous people I can remember, and don't really know if any of them were famous, but the pictures of certain people I remember, like I remember looking at that, like, oh, it's interesting. That person has a freakishly weird, freakishly different body. That, and like now that we're in the age of plastic surgery being a standard for people to have, 100 years later, it's a standard. Like, you have to get it, and even if you look good, you got to get something like duck surgery just to like fit in, so all the guys don't make fun of you or something for not looking stupid or something. I don't know the point of that. I mean, you probably got. I noticed those people always have a pimp with them, a white pimp with them most of the time, and so that's probably a large portion of what's happening there and shit. Someone's always taking the pictures of most of these people, especially back in the day. More. I've seen a couple who didn't, who were like self-taking photos, who fucked their face up real bad. But I've seen more often, I recall, Instagram people looking like the camera's been positioned and shit. Well, anyways, who do you guys think's destroying these fuckers right now? Like, it's weird, like they're sending all that money for wars to Israel and invading the Middle East, but their enemies here are like probably being attacked. It's probably their enemies, right? Just because, I mean, they're not actually white, so they're not Nazis like Hitler and like Elon Musk and, yeah, Hitler too, but Elon Musk and Trump put on. They're Israelis. They're not actual Nazis. So what did they do last time they were the Nazis? They led the Nazis to kill them all off. So, just because Hitler is in office right now doesn't mean that all Europe, all the Southerners he's flooding or whatever, it doesn't mean he wouldn't do that to his own people, because he's not his people. He says he is, and he's not. So it's like Hitler. He was like, the blonde hair, blue eyes are so great, bro. They're the best. They're the most advanced people on the earth. You can trust me. We gotta go steal everything on the planet. You guys have earned it. And they end up dying. And then what's happening in Ukraine? Well, you got Zelensky, who's a Hitler and a Trump, and a Musk and a Biden leading the Nazis. And who said they wanted to steal that land and move back to it? Well, the people on the Ukrainian flag, the pitchfork people. That's Khazaria. So the pitchfork people said they want that land too. And who's not to think that they wouldn't be stealing land if that's all they do? And that's all they're doing right now across the globe. They're invading Mexico. They're invading Palestine. something's happening in Ukraine where the Ukrainians are dying and they want their people to go live in Ukraine. I see them hyping up Africa too. They're like showing pictures on talking about they're killing all the white people down there. I've heard this before. And I don't even, again, like, who's telling you that though? Who wants you to go kill people down there? Well, Elon Musk would be the person from Africa. And then, obviously, I don't think he's as white as he says he is, because their people don't identify as white behind closed doors. They don't identify as white as in the open. They say they're Middle Easterners. Isn't that why everyone in USA is bombing the Middle East? Because they say they're Middle Easterners who want their land back? They sure look like Middle Easterners, don't they, Howard Stern? Young Joe Biden, Donald Trump's children, Elon Musk's parents probably fit in more than any of them. The other ones are easier to see. Einstein, the king of genocide, and inventing nukes to bully and enslave the world and kill off the Germans. Einstein, yeah. It doesn't look very, he says he's from the Middle East. That looks believable. That looks real believable to me. Now, if he said he was from Sweden, I wouldn't believe that at all. But they just don't. They're like, he's releasing our karma, so we gotta say it once or twice, and then to reseal their karmic debt, and and then I guess they lie and say they aren't there. It's weird. Like, they're from the Middle East. That's why they have 100+ years of war with USA invading it, and they want their land back. They also say they're the Americans, but they say they're from the Middle East. But if you ask them about who they really are, they'll say they're Europeans. And then they'll also tell you they're Americans, which clearly they're not. Any of them are Americans at all. They go around saying their families, and we got 2% Cherokee in us or something. And then they'll show you the picture of like Einstein. Like you've ever seen a Native American with an afro or something, dude. Like, I don't think so. I've never even seen a picture of it, dude. I don't even. I'm assuming that doesn't exist. I'm assuming that all comes from the Middle East and shit. Fucking. That's it just happens to be that many lands on the planet are colonized by these creatures. Now, the solution to the problem finds out. The solution to the problem will likely come from analyzing and finding out what these other creatures on the planet are. Because if we're dealing with alien species, we're not going to solve the problem until we deal with the alien species problem. Occupying Earth problem. Now, if they're bots, we got to deal with the problem of a bot species enslaving the planet. One of the two. It's one of the two. That's pretty easy to see. There's non-humans amongst us since 2020. And it's easy for me to see there's non-realistic superpower type shit that is involved in 2020. You can only imagine that a lot of this stuff is supposed to be combined into the answer of what's to be done here. Um, trying to solve the problem as fast as I can so I can get the hell out of here and go to a better world. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get to go to heaven and bounce on Jeffrey Epstein's knee as in a baby. Maybe we get to go back to, we can be in our little baby shells again. That way Jeffrey Epstein can touch us up there. Yeah. Or, I just can't wait. Just can't wait to be forced to die and then have to have my memory intact and go to heaven and keep living. I just can't wait to be forced to keep living longer. I just every day, all day long, it's just so overflowing with joy. Like I'm gonna get to live forever. It's just so fucking great. I can't wait. Oh my God. I'm gonna get to live forever with all my memories of fucking never getting to live. Yeah. And having to live a bunch of fucking crackhead, fucking degenerate bots and shit. We're degenerate is just highly overvalued by people who fucking really are trying to avoid some of those top things actually happening on the planet, right? Well, this has been another wasted day. Not that I waste a second fucking believing anything these people say, but that would suck. Like if there's like a heaven you had to go to after this place, like if you don't, that it would suck if you get to go anywhere after you die, because I'm pretty sure our memories are erased coming in here, because we do that quite often, and not because we have such great memories that we want to live forever with those memories. The only thing that makes logic other than that is their rapist ass race has been drugging me since I was a kid, and the average person probably drugs them at their hospitals too. And they're erasing people's memories, maybe using other alien tech to do that on the planet. How do they do the teleporting shit? Well, I'm sure we'll find the answers to everything, and the answer as to what these creatures are and how they're doing it. I'm sure the answer to everything on the planet lies in that. It's too bad there's so little people who are interested in solving problems instead of being the problem. Just maybe it tells us how large their numbers actually are on this planet. If there's that many DNA lines that are in league with their DNA, with their DNA output from their code. Really. Gonna have to make those important assumptions. Obviously, we're never gonna get a real discussion. Even if we could have taken them in for interrogation, it would be about exposing the fact that they are lying and hiding about this, not trusting a word they're saying. Getting these people involved in this stuff in the interrogation chambers will be entirely about getting them to confess in front of other people. Not expecting the confession to be honest, but the confession to be enough to admit to it. Like when I was talking to those one humans in 2020, and I was telling them, I was like, there's like another species on this planet, and they're enslaving us and stalking us and preventing us from being around anyone we want to be and altering our lives. And they come up, because they're already sitting over here waiting for me to show up, apparently. And I knew they'd be there. That's why I went there. I knew they'd try to disrupt that group if they weren't running it to begin with. And then they come over and they're like, yeah, you can't talk to them that way. It's like, well, I don't need your admission to tell us how you're doing it. You just admitted to them you're doing it. And that's all that matters. That's the most because that's the most we can expect. We can't expect anything they ever say to be the truth. So we're going to have to make assumptions on that. And once we get the admission from them, that will be enough to identify who is them and who's not. Because things will quickly shift once we get that on TV. And, the world will be able to see that little admission thing. And I think if when other people get to see it or get to make the decision whether they want to talk about what they might have already seen and not been warning other people about, then I think at that point, that's the point where you realize, like, it doesn't really matter what is going on. All that matters is that it is going on. And you can come up with whatever solution you want after that, as long as it's an actual solution. Humans have this habit of doing nothing but causing more problems. And they're generally the ones causing the problems, right? Some that looks like him is fucking, it takes a hell of a lot of them to do these things. Fucking, yeah, I really see the world changing, bro. Oh my god. Like, just because they fucking threw me some handouts and shit that I can't trust the last fucking decade or so. It's just like everything else too. It's often tied down like in ways that are easily discernible. If they were intelligent, they would be able to like formulate better things without the little anomalies that point towards hostility and falsities in their actions. If they were actually in control of their own brains, I don't think they'd come with all those little falsities. Because especially when it's important, kind of like that when I'm talking to someone else and they come over and they're like, you can't talk to them like that, they won't believe you. And it's like, well, they believe me now because you're right here doing exactly what I told you they're doing. And so you just created two true believers that I could have never created. I assumed I was here wasting my time. And instead, what happens, you got that little flaw there they have where they always expose themselves, and they're like, that's because of my karma. And it's like, I don't think they're releasing their karma. I don't think they're doing any of that because they're karma. I don't think karma matters or exists. Fuck, I've seen people kill themselves trying to kill me, right? Like, that doesn't mean karma exists. It just means you're a moron. And it also looks set up in advance. So how is that karma if that's set up before it even happens? It looks like that's called premeditated murder. I think that'd be their people's term for that. It's like, where does that even come from though? Like the sky, it comes from the heavens. Oh no, that would suck to have to go someplace after this and have memories of this place. Fucking, I want to go out there and meet the people who fucking drugged me and hang out with them and shit. Oh yeah, I ran away from them in the first place because I just couldn't wait to run back to them when I die. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, fairy tales. See where even wasting time talking about fairy tales gets you. This is what their people do too, is have you sit around talking about nonsense instead of nothing of value. So you can't figure out that space and Bigfoot shit probably is the same fucking delusion that comes from Albert Einstein's Bible. Fucking. So that's seems to be a bot race. That's the best I can. That seems to be what I can extract from them. Look how far I've got so far with extracting information from this world. I've got a hell of a lot of information out. I've got a hell of a lot of information out of it, and I got other people to see that information too without getting on TV. Just be like, well, why don't you just go on TV and tell them who you are and do it? Be yourself on TV. And Fauci's like, yes, I can finally be free and be myself. I'm tired of hiding in the closet. It's time to inject everyone with drugs. Yes. Yeah. And so not only have I been seeing what's going on, but everyone else got to take notice of that. So just trying to get I do notice there's some sort of change in some of the dialogue, but it's like I really can't trust a non-account someone now, can I? I've never met anyone in the real world who mentioned anything about what's going on, unless they were trying to, bring me into something involving them and involving them as well. So I've never met anyone who talked about that. People were real close, but just never said anything about it. So must assume real close and not say anything about it means you don't even know what you're doing. Anyway, another great, beautiful day out of the way, right? Is it day? I wouldn't know. I keep my windows covered. Fuck the light. Fuck the day. Fuck the sun. Fuck the earth. That's my motto. It's not a very productive place to be. A bunch of fucking lazy terrorists, fucking pedos. Pretty pointless to do nothing, come to Earth and do nothing. And because humans exist, you can't do anything. Even though they claim they go work at McDonald's and shit like that and fuck up burger orders all day. I really, that's suspect and shit, considering some shit I see. I know people definitely, I didn't see doing anything for fucking decades on it. I know people who I went to their work and they weren't there and shit like that. And that's the only thing I know about their work is they work somewhere and maybe I worked with them at an event. But I do remember that they were never at their work when I went there. Fucking, you think it'd be easy, it's just generating the characters it does when I ask for clones and stuff. Which obviously isn't very easy, because when have they ever appeared? And that shit didn't happen until I started using all the devil signs and stuff, just so you know. We weren't fucking summoning human clones before I started fucking doing all the gang signs and shit. That seems to be something that changed in 2020. So I don't know what comes from using the devil's magic to fucking have the devil go kill himself. Fucking, maybe after he kills himself, I'll owe him my soul for that. God, because I'm sure I've got one. Yeah, I keep it right here in my fucking wallet, next to my credit card. Just in case the Christians ever want to come by and charge $5 to it, right? When they want a piece of my soul. And they want me to give them, sell my soul to them, because don't sell your soul to people, because that's your soul. Oh my God, delusions, bro. I'm telling you, these things, no way they could build buildings and roads and shit. They don't have the mental capacity to figure out roads are fucking real. Are roads even real? Like, that should be the new thing. Let's have a holiday here at the end of the month. Let's just replace Easter. In the story, let's just replace Astar, the giant bunny and goddess of Egypt. Let's replace the Isis worship day. And let's make the roads aren't real day. Santa Claus is real, but the roads might not be. Fucking, we could get that on later. We got the COVID thing by like 10 a.m. How's the roads aren't real? Fucking, that's just about the same thing as COVID is real, right? That's about the same thing as Fauci's a good person you should listen to, huh? Yeah. Fauci's a great person. Yeah, he was designed to look like the hottest, sexiest character in the game, if you can't tell. He's like Marilyn Monroe. I mean, he really is, except for he doesn't have all that makeup on. And he cuts his afro short. Well, time to get this beautiful day on the road and get ready for bed. The best part of every day is when you get to close your eyes and not be alive for a while. Hopefully in the future people won't have to spend their entire life searching for death in order to get there and being servants to the devil. Wow. In the meantime, while you're searching for a way to escape them. Hopefully in the future. And see if they're real honest about getting rid of people in the USA, they could legalize that real fast. And we would, you know what, I actually honestly don't know if the population of people they dislike would be reduced. But I can tell you, if that didn't happen, we would also be through with having humans whine and say dumb things. Like, they don't like life. Well, now you would have a choice to like it or not. And it's obvious there's a lot of humans who want to say things just for attention and money. Which probably is usually the purpose of getting someone's attention, is to get their money. But we would be able to route that out. I do get the idea that some of the people I've talked to about that, or talked to me about that, are not as serious. And I guarantee you that I've met 0 people who have fought for their right to die, which means they're not serious. So, how do you know you don't have the right to if you haven't tried to fight for it and learn that you're not allowed to do anything on this planet? How do you know? If someone's saying they need to be free or they're a slave, then how would you know that? How would you know you're a slave unless you've ever fought for your right to not be a slave and learn that you don't have that right? And you're not going to get it. You know, like obviously, like when people had actual shackles on them, that's probably like a given, you know, and so they had to like fight for that right. Therefore, if they didn't fight, that would mean they don't even really think that they're slaves. It means they're fine with what was happening. And I do get that from people who are just never tried to do anything, never, and it's kind of like it ends up being one of those stop code things where we just end up talking, we're just gossiping rather than trying to get somewhere and do something. And that's actually a personality trait itself. Unfortunately, there are, and that can be a hostile one, like these people with their book of genocide. Um, like that's how they do it. They're in the streets telling you give them all your money or else. That's all they do is talk in the streets here, anyways. In other nations, they go around talking and then bombing them. But here they already are in control of everything, and they're not going to bomb themselves. So they're ruling out, they're trying to take over, and we're ruling out that they're going to bomb anyone who they don't like or won't join their side. But what we can see them doing is telling people that their twin is going to kill and torture people if they don't give them their money, because their twin hates them and hates you. But you need to give all your money to them so they can protect you from their invisible twin. It's not just a twin. It's an invisible twin with a cult ran by their race. So, and it's not hard to think through these